Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi here, and it's Friday, and I'm freaking out because MLSE has decided to withdraw their bid for a WNBA team for Toronto, and this really kind of throws a huge like on like getting a team. This may have been our best opportunity ever to get a WNBA team. The WNBA wanted it, we wanted it, but unfortunately, the ownership of the of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment voted against doing it. Now, there's a lot of different reasons why, apparently. And also, I'm worried about the future for the possibility of a WNBA team here being here, that it may not happen in some ways just because of the attitudes of MLSE and that it's the way this was handled. This was a perfect time for them to go get one. We had this preseason game this summer. The enthusiasm is very, very high. We sold it out. We showed that we could support it. That's not the problem. Toronto, the city, is ready for a WNBA team. In some ways, the WNBA is ready to come to Toronto because they're bound to bust open and be worth more and more and do better and be more successful. The WNBA is getting more and more popular. And I know its haters hate that. And they're like, I wish it would just go away. Well, no, it's actually getting more and more popular and making more money as time goes on. So, in some ways, MLSE is stupid for not getting in at a certain price and trying to do this now. They're citing a few different reasons for why they're not doing this. The main reason they're saying is that, they don't want to give the arena to the team, the Scotiabank Arena. The WNBA really liked the way that arena looked when we came there for the preseason game earlier this year. And they were asking MLSE to be able to use that arena for WNBA games. But apparently, they don't want to give up their summer schedule of concerts and events that go on during the summer when WNBA season's going on. To me, I feel like there's some way that they can meet in the middle on this one. I get it. The revenue for a Drake concert may be way more than the revenue for a Toronto WNBA team game. But, there's ways of doing this. In some ways, the WNBA plays in the middle of the day sometimes. You could have games in the afternoon on a Saturday and still have a show later that night. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's not possible with conversions. I don't know. But and then there's the whole idea of like, what about the Rico Arena, the one over at Exhibition Place, where they play a lot of smaller venues. It's a decent sized venue. It's a good sized venue. They could play the WNBA games over at Rico. And that would work fine, I would think. But WNBA themselves are saying, no, we want it in Scotiabank Arena. I don't know. In some ways, they didn't line up in the right ways. The other thing is, some of the teams in the WNBA aren't owned by the same ownership as the NBA teams. Chicago is a great example of this. The Chicago Sky are not owned by the same people that own the Chicago Bulls. They're a completely separate, different organization and company. Well, if MLSE is going to be like this and have their head up their ass about the WNBA, well, this could allow somebody like the CBL jump up and get a WNBA franchise put somewhere there. There are rumblings that the CBL ownership is interested in talking to the WNBA and seeing if they can get involved with them. It's just too bad. It's kind of crushing spirits. It's kind of like, listen, this is a win for pessimists, idiots, misogynists, people that are assholes, people that don't want to believe in the expansion of women's sports, people that don't want to believe in the expansion of basketball, people that don't want to believe in the expansion of the WNBA here in Toronto, for being such a progressive, amazing, most multicultural city in the world. Passing on the WNBA in the last 2 days doesn't really fit our character as who we are as Toronto. So yeah, fuck you, MLSE, and your bullshit. I know this is a money decision. This is a money decision. So snarky people in the comments are saying, well, why would they get a WNBA team? It's going to lose money. And the shareholders only care about making a profit. We're hearing that the MLSE is going to do $350 million of renovations to the Scotiabank Arena over the next year, kind of reminiscent of what they were doing at Rogers Center, the last year where they did renovations to that place to fix it all up. That's great. I mean, in some ways, I don't mind that, but in some ways, you guys could spend the money in better ways. Honestly, I feel like the Scotiabank Arena is really badass right now. And why do we need $350 million invested in the infrastructure of that building and different things? We really don't. We really don't. Do we need a Union Station overhaul look to our building? No, we don't. I wish y'all had just spent the money on the WNBA team instead. It's such bullshit in some ways. I'm trying not to be too mad about this, but in some ways I am upset about it. The counterbalance of having a really good positive training camp right now with the Raptors is making me get through this, because I am super disappointed with the news yesterday, as I'm sure a lot of you guys are too. It is what it is. It's a business decision. And in some ways, I worry that in the future, MLSE is going to be making a lot of business decisions. You know, we really need to not just covet Masai Ujiri, but we need to covet Larry Tanenbaum, because, man, I worry about the day when Larry's gone and it's just corporate in charge. You know, in some ways, we need a human person in charge of our team and some level of the ownership. And when it becomes just Bell and Rogers in charge of the Raptors, I really worry about our competitiveness and our ability to compete, because they may be cheapskates. They may be running the team just like the Leafs and the Blue Jays on a for-profit model that doesn't actually want to win. And that's what's really worrisome about this WNBA decision, is because I can link it to bad decisions coming down the road from MLSE when it comes to pinching pennies and being cheapskates and making business decisions. You know, I don't want them stopping us from spending like the Warriors or the Suns or the Clippers. I want them to say, yeah, we will pay our best Raptors the maximum and go into luxury tax and try and win championships. But I worry with these guys being cheapskates on the WNBA. And, you know, honestly, they make so much money. Our team is worth $5 billion. And, you know, they're going to make the money off of us. But if they don't come through with trying to make it as most competitive team as what we want, well, you may find you may lose revenue over time. Not everybody's going to be a Raptor freak like us and stick through everything. A lot of people will turn off the TV when they realize that the Raptors are kind of going like the Leafs were from 2000 to like 2015. It's just a for-profit model. Don't care about actually going for cups. Don't care about actually doing anything. The ticket sales are already sold out. That's all you give a shit about. Yeah, you start running our Raptors team like you've ran other sports franchises in the past, MLSE. Oh, man, you're going to have one of the biggest critics with this guy every single morning. Yeah, you will. And I ain't going to go nowhere. Yeah, that's right. All right, let me check with you guys here in the chat. So, yeah, the WNBA season, WNBA decision is disheartening. And also, in some ways, I hate what it says about the future for us, possibly. I don't want to be negative, honestly. You know how I am. I like staying positive, but I'm also realistic. And the way these things are going right now, MLSE looks like a bunch of assholes. And I'm really worried about how they may lead our team in the future. That's why we need to protect people like Masai Ujiri and really, really appreciate Larry Tanenbaum being in charge at the top. We really, really do need to appreciate that. Commissioner Trevor J is here first this morning. Good morning, Raptors family. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, Commissioner J. There's happy vibes and good things coming from the Raptors training camp on day 3. All kinds of good stuff, just smiles. And the coach is very, very pleased with his team. You know, I think there's one thing I can glean from Darko Rajakovic's interviews after the practices. He's really giddy. He's very, very impressed with the acumen and talent of his team. And honestly, why wouldn't he be? He's got some amazing, amazing NBA players on his team that he's going to be able to direct and hopefully go get a bunch of wins with this year. It's going to be awesome, honestly. Siakam taking to the system and everything that's going on at practice very, very well. In fact, Darko's saying he's extremely proud of Siakam and how well he's done. You know, it's so interesting to hear a coach freely giving kudos and beneficial compliments to a player in an interview. It's fresh, refreshing. More likely to hear that than somebody getting thrown under the bus. So I love you, Darko, for giving Siakam a lot of kudos yesterday in your interview. And that goes a long way. That shows that he cares about him and he doesn't want to like drag him through the mud like some people are trying to do in certain ways. And I appreciate that, Darko. What you said about Siakam in your interview goes a long way. Honestly, I'm sure it goes a long way to Siakam because he sees his coach recognizing his effort and his willingness to come and work with him. So I love that so much. You go, Pascal. You go, Scotty. You go, Gradey. You go, all you Raptors. That's right. Gradey getting his first professional interview, other than me, any of the summer league stuff with the press yesterday. Very, very astute. Very, very ahead of his time. Kind of maturity. Young man with Gradey Dick at only 19. You forget how old he is when you hear Gradey Dick get interviewed. It's like, holy crap, this kid's only 19. You got to remind yourself that. And I like what Gradey said. He's talking about like, where do you see, they said, where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years as an NBA player? And he's like, wow, I haven't really thought about it that far. And he's talking about how his dad and him plan out the year for goals. And I knew about this because I read this before. It's kind of like him and his dad have a list of things they want to accomplish. And I'm sure they have very interesting lists for this season, his rookie season with the Raptors. So he hasn't really made a 5-year one yet, but he's like kind of big picture thinking about it. He's like, yeah, maybe I want to be known as one of the best shooters in the league around that time. Maybe this accomplishment, nothing too specific. But I love that he's goal oriented like that, because honestly, the list that he makes with his dad, the more they check those checks off, the more success he's having. That's for sure. So yeah, I like his goal-oriented self, Gradey Dick. Very, very, very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Let's see. Dana's here. Good morning to Canadian Dana. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving long weekend. That's right. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving weekend. It's it's so early in the year for me. I'm still not totally used to it because of growing up in the States and doing Thanksgiving at the end of November after Halloween. When I see Halloween is after Thanksgiving in Canada, it doesn't seem natural to me. But that's because of my American raising, being down there pretty much my whole childhood. So yeah, Trevor J saying never lose hope. Just when you think to give it up and throw in the towel, God steps in and gives you a blessing. Well, that's what I'm hoping. And these are great words of wisdom today, Trevor J, for the WNBA scenario that just played out. I hope we get another chance to come around and it to be here. I think the WNBA really does want that. I think they really, really do want us to be in their league. I think the fans want it. It's just the fucking ownership here has got to get their head out of their ass. So who knows? Maybe somehow, some way it'll happen. This, like I said, this was all set up very perfectly for us to just slam dunk it. But these guys decided to throw the ball out of bounds is what they did. Yeah, MLSE. Not a good look, but I hope you're right, Trevor J. I'm never going to lose hope. And I want to encourage the growth of basketball in Canada, unlike MLSE. So I will still pine and hope for a WNBA team here in Toronto. Somebody had a good idea in the comments. If they want to expand the WNBA into Canada, maybe they should go to Vancouver first. Instead of putting another NBA team in Vancouver, maybe they put a WNBA team in Vancouver, have a nice rivalry with the Seattle Storm. And, it does very, very well. Now, I don't know how it would work with arenas and bullshit like what's happened with MLSE, but hopefully they could work it out, because I do want to see expansion of the WNBA into Canada. And if it can't be here because of our stupid ass ownership group here, I'd rather, I'd like it to be in Vancouver. That's a great city for basketball. And watching the Grizzly Truth and seeing how they got behind it, I think they'd get behind a WNBA team just as strongly as they might get behind an NBA team. So, yeah, it's very, very crazy. Very, very crazy. And it sucks in some ways. Oh, my gosh. It's annoying what the decision was yesterday. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Trevor J saying also to all the people who taught Pascal is not the team player, you all can stop now. I really love what Siakam said in his interview yesterday. It was Gradey, Pascal, and Coach getting interviewed yesterday. Siakam said this basically. He's like, y'all are way over dramatizing my situation in this. All of us have to do the same thing. It's not just me who's coming to practice and having to conform to Darko's system. Everybody who's on this team is going through the same thing as I am. And that y'all making it a special case for me is kind of silly, because the same thing that Gary's got to do, the same thing that OG's got to do, same thing that's Scotty's got to do, I got to do. We're all doing the same damn process. So it's silly to single me out and make a big deal out of this, maybe just because of my contract situation and things like that. So I love what Siakam said, and he's winning. He's doing a great job. He's fitting in. He's smiling. He's having a good time. They're working really hard. Darko's very impressed with how quickly they're picking up on stuff. Our team is really, really good, really, really good, and really, really savvy and smart and high IQ. And I of course, they're going to take to a system really quickly, especially if they're enthusiastic. They have a clean slate. They want to move on from a bad year last year. They want to get that taste out of their mouths. They like the new energy. They like the new ideas. They like the new coach. And that's kind of where we're at right now. Trevor J saying Minnesota. Hang on, it jumped up. Minnesota looks very good in the precision game yesterday. And all 29 precision games will be on NBA TV with all 29 teams. Precision game. I don't even know what that is. So they played in Dubai, and they played against Dallas, and they blew them out. They kicked their ass pretty bad. They almost doubled them up. And the Dubai crowd was chanting for Kyrie. Yeah, that's fun. It's preseason. I mean, this is a global expansion kind of game where they just want to show the game off in a foreign place. It's very interesting, like Dubai. They'll play another game there, and it's good. It's good for the game. It's good for expanding things and getting out there and showing stuff for sure. Fiercey's here. Good to see Fiercey self. Sarah, good morning, fam, and happy Friday. Only one team announced for WNBA. That's very stark and interesting. In some ways, I feel like the MLSE just pulled the plug out right at the end. They were going to announce two teams, and I'll bet you they were going to announce Toronto, but the MLSE board swatted it like a block shot and said, no, it's not happening. That's fishy that only one team was announced yesterday, and they're still going to try and announce another one before the expansion in 2025. Yeah, it's very fishy. In fact, I think that they may have pulled out of it right at the last second, that they knew it was about to happen and it was going to legitimately happen. And then maybe they did some sort of board vote, and Ed Rogers was like, we can't do this, being a fucking asshole. And they changed the vote. And they were like, it could even be like a little bit of this. Larry may be picking his battles in some ways. And in some ways, getting the WNBA and the whole kit and caboodle, that may be not a battle he wanted to try and pick with the people that are opposition to him in the ownership group. And that maybe he's saving his battles for the big ones for us, the Raptors, because he knows there's going to be ones coming down the road. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I'm only speculating here. But in some ways, I feel like that might have been what happened. Is in some ways the pro getting and WNBA here, people were kind of like, well, let's pick our battles on this, because we may have some things on the horizon where we need to be looking out for the Raptors in some ways. In some ways, I could argue that the WNBA team could hurt the Raptors. I could argue that in some ways. It could hurt the Raptors brand if it's too tied together to it. I mean, that sounds crazy, and maybe that sounds kind of wrong, but in some ways, it could. It could, if you think about it in some ways. I think it'd be bolster it and make it more of a big, awesome thing. But in some ways, it could hurt it. I don't know. Let's see what else y'all are saying. Cool Cat's here. Can we also infer that MLSE is exerting influences on contracts to our players? Hopefully Drake can get a WNBA team. Can't stop the growth of basketball industry. There you go, Cool Cat. I love what you're saying here. Yes, I think that is something y'all can infer. This extension talk is not about Masai and Bobby. It's about the MLSE board. And anybody who's like, well, why haven't we signed these extensions for these guys? Well, I'd like you to replace getting mad at the front office for the Raptors and start getting mad at the ownership group. Because if the money decisions, they will spend. Bobby and Masai want to spend. What do they care about spending money? They'll spend the money. It's the cheap tightwads at the MLSE board that are probably like, yeah, we don't want to spend money. Meanwhile, we have some of the craziest ticket prices. We pay so much to see our games on TV. They're greedy as fuck. And it's like this. You know, in some ways, I kind of wish we get better ownership like Phoenix. You know, maybe it is better to have one person who's crazy rich and crazy invested in trying to make that team so good. You know, you see the Phoenix Suns, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Los Angeles Clippers. These teams start doing really well with their mega rich owners who are really investing in them to try and get them better. And they start winning games and winning championships. Well, maybe we want Drake to buy the Raptors straight up. Drake, you can do it, man. You dropped that album this morning at 6 a.m. and everybody was waiting with bated breath. You have people that don't ever get up past 2 p.m. in the afternoon, getting up at 6 a.m. to listen to your music this morning, Drake. You have tons and tons of money. You're going to give $10,000 willy-nilly to somebody out of the blue? Well, do something for the women. Do something for the world. Do something for the fans. Buy MLSE. I mean, seriously, if anybody can do it, it's Drake. And Drake, whoa, why don't you be Steve Ballmer for the Raptors? Fuck this fucking board and their bullshit. I want a Mark Cuban. I want a Matt Ashiba. I want a Steve Ballmer running our team. I want to cut all this corporate crony bullshit out of our fucking ownership group and sell it to one person. Sell it to Drake. I'll fucking love that day because I know we'll be in good shape when Drake's in charge. And if he's the end of all be all at the top, yeah, that man knows how to make money. And that man knows how to run a business without all the corporate bullshit in the middle. In some ways, I really do pine for the day that the Raptors can have ownership like the Phoenix Suns. That would be a beautiful thing to have a singular owner that really cares about the team and will invest his own money into it. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking for right there. Yeah, that's what I want. Come on, Drake, come through and help us here. You know, if anything started with the WNBA, just start talking to these guys. Say, Rogers, fuck you. Bell, fuck you. Get out of here. I'm buying you out. I'm in charge now. Champagne Poppy, you're going to be owning this team. That would be great. This man has the money. This man has the money. That's the crazy thing. People say, what, Drake can't buy the MLSE. Well, he doesn't have to buy the whole thing. You know what? Leave the Leafs and them with them. I know that they share the building and it's all fucked up because of that. And that in some ways you can't sell the Raptors without the Leafs, which is kind of messed up in a way. I don't know. Drake loves the Leafs too. He could buy the fucking Leafs too. Oh, I'm sure Leaf fans will love that. Drake's in charge of the Leafs. They start getting worried about, oh my gosh, Drake's not giving enough money to us. And they're giving all the money to the Raptors. I don't know. I'm just saying, in some ways, I want to get corporate ownership out of the Raptors because the best teams that are in the competition to win and do stuff are the ones that are owned by really crazy rich billionaires like Matt Ashiba. So, yeah, it's crazy. Kareem saying women's hockey league, and this is a brand new league, will have a Toronto team before the WNBA. Yeah, in some ways that makes sense, Kareem. Some ways that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. In some ways, they don't want the basketball coming up here. This is the MLSE saying, screw you, young women, young girls. No, you don't get any kind of heroes like the NBA does here. You're not going to get them here. In some ways, it's like a big screw you to women is what MLSE said yesterday. Honestly, it's really, that's the way it feels to me in some ways. G saying NBA players have daughters. Some of these daughters will be playing ball, and some probably will make the WNBA. Making Toronto a basketball hub, I think, is just good business for the future. There's some people are saying this morning, it's like it's dumb for them to not get in on the profitable floor. This league's going to expand, and it's going to be more and more profitable in time. You could get a cheaper price on a franchise right now than you maybe can get in 5 years, Toronto. So it's like, why wouldn't you try and do it right now? Golden State's jumping on it and getting their team all set up. That makes me mad that the Warriors can get their shit together and have it happen. Why can't we do that up here? Oh, Ed Rogers, that big piece of shit. That's why we can't. Oh, great. Fuck him. Fuck Ed Rogers. Fuck Rogers. Cancel your Rogers today. Seriously, cancel your Rogers today. Don't support that company. Seriously, you can get around avoiding them. Seriously, I don't have Rogers. Fuck him. I don't pay a damn cent to that company. Fuck that company. That's right. And all right, let's keep going. Monique is saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. I really thought they had the news on paper. WNBA, damn. I don't totally understand what you're saying. I don't know that saying. Yeah, I thought this was for sure. I thought it was going to be a slam dunk too, that we would just get it. But I didn't realize that the issue would be the ownership. I thought that it may be the WNBA. It's like, no, we don't want to expand to you guys because it costs. But no, that's not it. They very much want to be here, and they were probably ready to announce us as the other team yesterday. That's why it's embarrassing. They probably wanted to announce two teams, and these chauvinistic assholes in the MLSE board have fucked that up. And whatever. I mean, fuck these guys. Seriously, they're gonna be tightwads. They're gonna be worried about just profits and stuff for the shareholders. I don't want to have a company run like that because that's not gonna win championships down the road because they're gonna be tightwads and they're gonna run for profit. I know how these sports franchises, when they run like this, work. I've watched the Leafs and the Blue Jays and the way that works. The Raptors have not had that happen because we've had Masai and Larry Tanenbaum around to give us that room to compete with money. And, these things change. That's going to really suck for the Raptors. And oh my gosh, I want us to change our ownership as soon as possible. Seriously. Randolph Phillips is saying, good morning, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. I hope, hang on, it jumped. I hope every one of you woke up with a grateful and thankful heart. We are all destined to do great and wonderful things. Let's do our best. Wow. In some ways, I'm grateful and have gratitude for the good vibes around the Raptors and the promise of a new NBA season starting very soon. In some ways, I have that with the yin yang of being very disappointed with the WNBA news also. In some ways, the Raptors will help me get through this. And, I don't know. I want to still continue to be a big fan of the WNBA. It's not their fault. It really is people like Ed Rogers' fault. Tom Duke has got us saying good morning in a couple different languages. He's got Dobro Jutro for Rajaković. He's got Guten Morgen for Schroeder. Bon Matin for Mr. Siakam. And then good morning from Mr. Scotty Wayne Barnes. Good morning to you, Tommy. Thank you for the Mohawk Kyle Lowry. And thank you for great chapter descriptions recently. Really good stuff, Tom. You've been awesome and you're on top of things. You've gotten, seriously, you must have listened to the things I was saying before because the descriptions have been really exactly what I was looking for. Thank you for it, man. Kareem saying, to be honest, I wasn't fully convinced that Darko was the best fit for our team. But as of yesterday, interviews during practice made me a complete believer. He's so articulate with his answers. Yeah, and he's got some really. This is the thing. We can see the personality stuff now. He can charm us. You can see why the players would buy into him and want to follow him. But the side we're going to see revealed next is going to be that basketball mind, that theory side, that X's and O's, that guy who's making the whole scheme of things, the guy who's kind of got the whole big picture for the identity and what the look of this team's going to be this year. And, that's going to be the part that's going to impress you next, Kareem. The personable part is easy to see early. But the stuff on the court and the results and the genius of basketball IQ and stuff like that, that's a big thing that Masai and Bobby look for. In some ways that was Casey. Casey was already there when he came in. He let him coach. But then he brought in Nick. Nick was an amazing X's and O's kind of idea guy in different ways in the beginning. And I feel like Darko's going to have that kind of freshness to him. And he'll be kind of different in certain ways. So I'm excited about it too, Kareem. I really, really am. Most saying the MLSE part of this is extremely something else. Yeah, it's crazy. MSJ saying no WNBA. Was this expected for Toronto? Yes, it was actually. Yeah, this whole year. I don't know if you've been around, Chris. We've been talking about this all summer. I went to the WNBA preseason game. It was awesome. They had really good turnout, really good energy. The city's ready for a WNBA team. As far as the people and the fans, they will support it. In some ways, the WNBA is ready to come here, but our ownership group is not ready to commit to it. And they're just, whatever reasoning they're going to give for it, it's not a good reason. Our company is very, very profitable. They're doing very, very well. They could expand and allow this to happen. In some ways, I feel like it's a big rejection to the sport of basketball in some ways. And it's sure, the rejection of women's basketball specifically. So, yeah, this was expected. It's expected by the WNBA, expected by the fans, and then rejected by the ownership of MLSE. Yeah. Isaac Campbell saying, boycott these arena shows. I would rather see bands in better sounding venues anyway. Boom goes the dynamite. Isaac Campbell, I'm giving you a dunk for good advice. I don't mind the summer activities in the Air Canada Center / Scotiabank Arena. It's just, can we accommodate them? I understand maybe the attendance of the WNBA game on the regular may not fill up the upper bowl of the Scotiabank Arena. So maybe they do need to go to Rico. I mean, that's the thing. MLSE has a smaller venue at Exhibition Place, which could be perfect for the WNBA. Now, that this could be the thing that makes them match, as far as like, we don't have to worry about concerts being taken away on the bigger level at the Scotiabank Arena. We don't mind if WNBA takes a concert night from that arena, because the capacity is smaller. And in some ways, it's a really good arena for the WNBA game at Rico. If they could have lined up on that, maybe it would have happened. If the WNBA said, yeah, okay, we'll play in Rico, that's fine. But no, they're pretty adamant about wanting to play in Scotiabank Arena. And I may have been really that game that we had there earlier this year that I was at. It was completely electric. And they were like, wow, I like this. We got to be here, though. And MLSE is kind of like, no, well, could you do Rico? Could you go to Rico Coliseum and do it there, maybe? Or maybe like even, they play at fucking Maple Leaf Gardens at the Matinee Center or something like that. That's not a bad venue. We've seen basketball Global Jam there. I don't know. There are a couple of alternative venues other than the Scotiabank Arena, which I understand. Maybe there's a weekend concert, or there's Taylor Swift or some shit like that. And that's big money. Yeah, I get that. But I'm totally for smaller venue support and going to see shows in clubs. So listen to Isaac there. Yeah. Monique saying, we talk about Larry Tanenbaum? Do you understand the update? I don't know exactly what you're asking me, Monique. Be more elaborate. The update, the thing is this. All right, this is what's come to light, and people have known for a little bit, that when Larry's done, like he's too old, he's going to step down. And unfortunately, he's not going to give his seat to his child or his son or daughter or anything like that. The deal was that when he steps down, he's out of ownership, and then Bell and Rogers just own the team themselves. And it's just a corporate ownership. There's no like human owner like Larry Tanenbaum. And yeah, you tell me if that's going to be good for us or not. In some ways, the 50-50 of Bell and Rogers is a really bad situation to be in if they're not seeing eye to eye. And Larry was that vote in the middle that kind of decided everything for us, because he was kind of the extra thing. And in some ways, you lose that. That's no good. Then all of a sudden, Ed Rogers is in charge of our team in some ways, and he's making the decisions. We don't want that. We don't want that. He's never been good for our team, even though he's one of our owners. He's never, ever been good for our team. So, yeah, it's scary. It's scary, Monique. People may realize that, like, too late, that this is the good times. Things are really good for our team and our franchise. I don't want bad things to happen to our team, but down the road, things could be really sketchy and awful, partly because we have shitty ownership, and it's just like a kind of Leafs kind of spinning our wheels kind of bullshit thing. And I hate that. I hate the idea of that. So in some ways, I don't want to predict that. I want to say something could happen and make this not happen over the next few years. That would be great. That'd be great if some sort of issue thing could happen. Drake, come save the day, please. Seriously. You sell enough records this morning, just buy MLSE out and just be the owner of all the sports here in Toronto. You'd be so prestigious and a badass like that. And you'd make money. You'd make money doing it. You would. Nameless is saying, that's exactly why I was going to say yesterday, the Raptors need a figurehead like the Detroit Red Wings had with Little Caesars owner to be successful perennially. Yeah, Larry Tanenbaum is that guy. Larry Tanenbaum is a big reason why we won our championship in 2019. We want to win more championships. We want to continue to have an owner like that. And if he's gone, it's not going to be easy for us in some ways. Fiercely saying, adding to Kareem's comment, I was bought in for Darko since he was tired, and since he was hired, and I'm truly impressed with how he handles the repetitive questions with class, energy, and optimism. No rolling his eyes like Nick Nurse. He's a people person. He's an ambassador. He's a politician to a degree, too. He really does understand, not causing waves or problems in the press. He's not going to throw any of our guys under the bus publicly. He'll do all that stuff behind the scenes. He won't be doing any of this cheap-ass shit Nick was doing back then. Yeah, it's going to be interesting this year, Nick James Harden, really interesting stuff. Yeah, there's all kinds of bullshit coming out of like Sixers camp with different things, and some of it's really hilarious to me. Sixers Nation has a really weird idea about who Nick Nurse is. Let's just put it that way. And he's telling them what they want to hear, but he's lying to them. They're gonna find that out. He's lying to them. Nameless is saying the minute a corporation leads sports team, too many conflicting selfish interests pulling in different directions. The only people that suffer is the players. You need a figurehead. If Drake's on the team, I guarantee 3 more championships in the next 20 years. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to be like Leaf management for a good chunk of the last 40 years. We don't want to be like them, seriously, in all kinds of different ways. It's really good to have Masai steering the ship. You want one cook in the kitchen that has a grand vision that works towards it. When you have too many different egos at the top trying to do little things, they do little power plays, and sometimes their visions don't line up and they kind of work against each other. So this is why this is really important. You have one person in charge like Ujiri. And, man, I really don't like some of the waves from this WNBA decision and what it may mean for the Raptors and MLSE in the future. I really, really don't. Drake, you got to save us, man. Come on now. 21, can you do something for me? Come on now. Let's see. G saying the story out there is that the WNBA wanted Scotiabank. The timing with all the games and concerts played there couldn't work. Ed Rogers sabotaged Masai to get his pay. These are the owners. Shaking my head. Yeah, man, it sucks. It sucks because obviously Rogers has a direct interest in the baseball team and direct interest in maybe in some ways he favors the Leafs doing better than the Raptors. There's all kinds of different reasons. I think in some ways this slaps of hockey establishment saying we don't want growth of basketball further in this country. That if you add a WNBA team, that's all right. Then you're encouraging young women to go out there and pick up a basketball instead of maybe picking up a hockey stick. There's a lot of weird reasons why this might not have gone through other than the financial reasoning that they're using. There could be a couple of reasons here. Nameless is saying this is the problem with the Leafs, the Jays, and now we're debunked the Toronto sports curse. Yeah, it's not anything. And don't even use that word. That word doesn't count. It's a financial bullshit thing. It's a corporation thing. If you're going to call it a curse, call it the corporation curse. Yeah. Yeah. And that sucks. I mean, Jays fans, they get the result that they got this week from that kind of management and ownership. It's kind of half-assed and kind of not full out and trying to really win. And that's the thing that Toronto fans want is they want to try and win. They have no level of like, okay with mid at this point. They just want to win and win or nothing. And I hate that. In some ways, it's not going to jive with that kind of ownership mentality of like, we just want them for profit. We don't care about winning team. We just know y'all will come and buy the tickets and the merchandise and we will make money. And we don't give a shit of whether they win or not. There's going to be that kind of shit around the Raptors if we're not careful in the years to come. We really need to make sure that, we got the right people in charge and we protect Masai by all means. Oh my gosh. Mo saying Dennis's Instagram post, love the background. We the North. He's still locked in. All right, let's go do that since Monique brought it up and we could use a little more positivity. Let's see. We're starting out with Kyle Lowry. He's putting on For All the Dogs by Drake. And he's like, Champagne Poppy, morning workout music. That's right. He got up right at time when they brought it out at 6 a.m. And he's listening to that album with Adonis's artwork on the cover of it. And he's enjoying it already. Kyle Lowry listening to it this morning. Dennis has got a new post on his Instagram of him in Raptors gear with the We the North behind it that Monique is talking about. He's very excited and he's putting on blast where he's at now. All the Lakers fans are coming in the comments and saying, we miss you, Dennis. We think you're awesome. We hope you do good with the Raptors. They're not hating. They honestly really love him. And Lakers Nation and the way they are, the way that they're showing 100% support for Dennis and they're not trolling him, they're not dissing him is amazing. Honestly, that really speaks to who he is and how people will fall in love with him and really get behind him as real fans. So expect that from Raptors Nation, Dennis, next. We're going to be real fans for you too. And he posted that picture that is our cover photo in the Raptor Freak Facebook group right now of Maker himself, Malachi Flynn, Mogi, and Marquise Noel laughing, having a laugh. And it looks like Malachi's pointing to the ground And I think he's saying, this is where I shot it from, Dennis. And Dennis is like, how you laughing? He's like, oh, come on, Malachi. We know where you shot it from. It's a little silly and funny, but it's good vibes. And that's what we like to see. And I like seeing Dennis putting it on blast. That's right. That's so awesome. Marquise has also got the back cover of For All the Dogs from Drake. He's already got the list of the songs there. That's awesome. And look at the artwork. Of course, Adonis, you're gonna have a lot of money just from like drawing your kid drawings, just because your dad put it on his album. Mogi was out exploring as a tourist over in BC. He's riding down a nice road in a car. There's some really tall trees. It's beautiful. There's a nice suspension bridge. He's taking pictures of people walking across it. So good to see Mohamedou Guy get out and see nature. There's a beautiful waterfall somewhere where they're near in BC. Beautiful babbling brook with a bunch of stones. Very, very, very beautiful scenery. Mohamedou Guy on his Instagram. Chris Boucher has got a song playing. You want to hear it. Don't talk to the boy about comparison shit, or come to the boy on some arrogant shit. The weapons we got here are some terrorist shit. Yeah, that's right. He's getting hyped up for the season. He knows his teammates and him are going to be badasses, and he's ready for it. This man knows, like, he's on a team with mercenaries, guys that are really badass players, and they're going to come in and mess things up on other teams. They're going to mess them up bad. Grady's got a picture of a practice on his Instagram. The Raptors are heading to another town next. And they headed to Squamish, I believe. They were in Squamish. Yeah, they went with the Raptors outreach crew, community outreach crew. They went up there, and there's the Raptor doing a handstand in Squamish with a nice, beautiful mountain behind him. And they're playing the little drill games where they grab the basketball real quick. I don't think they sent any players up there, but they definitely sent the Raptor and maybe a coach or somebody. But yeah, I don't think that they actually sent any players to Squamish, unfortunately. Also, they're in Edmonton, Londonderry, Edmonton. There's a new Giants of Africa court that Masai Ujiri cut the tape on and opened up while they're out west. So cool to see a Giants of Africa court being opened in Alberta, in Edmonton. It was a nice turnout to cut the tape and set it up. And Masai was speaking, saying, this is what he said. He said, basketball brings peace. This place is going to be a peaceful place, and it brings people together. There you go. He's talking about the Giants of Africa court that they just dedicated in Edmonton yesterday, I believe. Yeah, so awesome stuff. Matt Devlin putting on blast. Day 3 of training camp. Lots of good vibes there with that. Good stuff. Yeah, all right, there you go. There's your Raptors Instagram check. A lot of them are quiet right now, and it's partly because of the players are busy. They don't have time to be on social media doing stuff. It looks like the Raptors at 6 a.m. this morning had a very nice advertisement up at Yonge and Dundas Square, where the Drake Owl, and they're celebrating the 10th anniversary and saying congratulations to Drake on his new album this morning. I guess October's very own. We support you, and thank you for supporting the Raptors, and we need your support even more in the future, from what I was saying. Casey Bannerman has a new wool knit Raptors purple dinosaur jersey that looks crazy. Maybe it's good for winter, but I would never wear that to a game, because that thing would probably shrink and you sweat, and it might be all nasty wearing a wool jersey like that. I'm telling you, you're sweaty. Don't play in one, definitely. You go out there and you show up in a wool knit jersey by Casey Bannerman on a NBA on a court here in Toronto. Yeah, you're gonna be all messed up. You're gonna be all messed up. MSJ saying, Lex, you're coming on a bit strong. Maybe okay, hang on. I want to see what he's saying. No. Maybe MLSE doesn't want a WNBA team, or maybe the NBA isn't ready to expand a profitless league into another country. See, you're coming from the misogynist side of things. I'm sorry, Chris. We are ready for this. And listen, I'm anti-capitalist. I'm anti making corporate decisions based purely on money and profit. You know, they make so much money off of us as consumers of basketball, and they owe it to give it back to the community in some ways. They owe it to young women of Canada to give them more of an opportunity to play in that sport. In some ways, Toronto wants to be such a progressive city. Well, why are we not progressing with the WNBA? That shows that we're kind of got our heads up our ass, And maybe our priorities are all wrong in the city. Chris, you can have your opinion and you can think I'm coming on a bit too strong. But in some ways, I feel like your attitude is kind of chauvinistic. And it's not really the way it should be, honestly. You can be that way. You can put down the WNBA. That's fine. But I'm not about that here. I'm not about that. You can say it's a profitless league, but that's not completely true. It's bringing profits up now, and it's starting to more and more as time comes. So I want to invest in young women playing basketball in Canada. So no, I'm not coming on too strong. And we'll have agree to disagree here. But yeah, I think that in some ways people just poo-poo the WNBA as not being important or useless, and they're wrong. They're fucking wrong, is what I'll say. There you go. As above, so below. Warline saying, I just canceled Rogers. There you go. Do it. Do it, Warline. Thank you for being here, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, do it. Nameless saying Tom Duke is most improved player on the Raptors Freak Show. He's the MVP in some ways. He's not most improved. This guy's always been really, really good. I mean, the chapters have been better for sure. Seymour saying Ben canceled. Ben Rogers. Ben Rogers or just Rogers? That's funny. Seymour, you know what? You added the Ben there. Is Ben related to Rogers? I wonder about that now. I just made the connection because Nameless just said that. Ben Rogers, or Seymour said it. Seymour said Ben Rogers. Maybe Rogers, Ben Rogers? I need to figure this out. Where's Seymour on here? I know he's on here. There he is. Give him a dunk for that. That's funny. Let's see. Tom Duke saying safe bet and Nameless a lot to improve on. Listen, Tom, don't denigrate yourself. You're amazing. You're a badass, and we appreciate you. That's right. Let's go. And Tom saying loving the vibes and leadership emerging from our new look Darko era roster. Yeah, I mean they're playing shooting games. They're having fun. Gradey was talking about his mentorship that he's getting from Garrett Temple, Otto Porter Jr., and Dennis and different people like that. He's really soaking it all in. He's really ready to learn as much as possible quickly in his NBA career as a rookie. And I love that about him. In some ways, he's a good example for some of the other young players on the team as far as like really, really working hard and having an open ear to everybody around him. In fact, during Gradey's little interview, Jakob came in and interrupted it. And he kind of got in the middle of it, but it was a nice one. Nobody was getting sunned, although Gradey did sun himself, which is really weird. Gradey Dick sunned himself. He said, this is what he said in the interview. He said, yeah, it's great having guys like Garrett and Thad around. In fact, they're old enough that I could be their son, is what Gradey said. And I was like, whoa, this is different. Instead of Justin Champagny sunning someone, Gradey just sunned himself, saying that, oh, these guys are old enough they could be my dad. See, this is the turnaround I wanted. We go from the sunning from 2 years ago to somebody saying I could be their son. That's the turnaround I wanted. Yeah. But yeah, I love seeing Jakob interrupt his interview and kind of get in there and kind of mess around with him. Good vibes. This is hilarious. Gradey sunning himself. So good. You can find that clip and you'll know what I'm talking about. When you hear Gradey say, they're old enough to be my dad. Yep, you just sunned yourself. But in the right way. He did it on his own. That's the best way. All right, let's see. Tommy's saying, bring that WNBA franchise out west. Drake can still own it. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm all about that. I think that's cool. That's a great idea. You know, if we're going to pass on a WNBA team here in Toronto and be stupid and have our head up our ass like that, well, yeah, send them there or something, or, Montreal maybe. I don't know. WNBA and women's basketball needs to have a team here in Canada. If Toronto's going to be stingy and be full of shit, I want to see it happen in another city. So go talk to Vancouver. Go talk to Montreal. Make it happen still, WNBA. We won't let this stop us. Seriously, we won't let this stop us. And you know what? I'll get behind whatever team you put it wherever, and I'll root for them just like I'll root for the Raptors. They'll be Canada's WNBA team. I'll get behind them just as long as they're on this side of the border. If they're out in Tom Duke country in the BC area, I will get behind them. So yeah, Nameless is saying, wow, you're kidding. We're effed. I know in some ways I feel like we are Nameless. It's disappointing, and I'm worried about future things with our ownership. I really am worried about it. Hopefully things can work out and we'll be okay. But yeah, in some ways everything gets ruined by corporations. That's just the damn truth. They're going to ruin weed at some point. The government and corporations will ruin weed, cannabis. They're going to ruin, sports by messing it all up in certain ways. They ruin sports all the time. There's a lot of franchises in sports over the history where the ownership group sucks because they're full of shit and they only care about making profit and they don't care about actually winning. This is a classic thing with sports franchises. So in some ways, I worry about that for us. I really do, because I've seen the pattern in Toronto sports. I really have. Let's see. Cowboys saying, just coming to say good morning, Lex. Bam. And Raptor Freaks. Have a safe and day. Bam. Thank you, Bradley. I hope you do too. TGIF. Be safe, whatever jobs you're doing today for Tada. And Nameless is saying, please, Drake, save us. That's what I'm saying. We might need Champagne Poppy to save us. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. I don't know. Crazy things can happen in Toronto because there are really wealthy people that have egos, and maybe they are going to be like, fuck this. I love the Raptors. I want to see them win again. I'm buying them. Please, somebody buy them from those stupid corporations. Please, right away. Top of Top saying, good morning. It's a business. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. I know it's partly that, but in some ways it doesn't have to all be that. MLSE knows they'll make more paper off concerts than WNBA. I know this is true too. I won't disagree with that. I'd rather they go outside of Toronto to a lower traffic area. In some ways, I get this, top of top. These are all fair points. And, well, I guess that's just what it's going to have to be. In some ways, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing in some ways. Like if we're comparing a multicultural, high-end city, San Francisco's beating us now because they are going to get a WNBA team and we won't have one. So in some ways, it's like it's a prestige thing. In some ways, it's like, we got cheapskates. Matashiba's down there buying brand new practice facilities for his team down there. I know we have ours. We've already bought ours. But, there's a lot going on with other teams where they're investing in their teams. And, that's great. $350 million in renovations to Scotiabank Arena. Yeah, you're going to go ahead and raise all the ticket prices and say that's why we had to do it. Oh, man. Nameless is saying 21. Can you do something for me? Yeah, please, Drake, on your album drop day. Let's see, MSJ saying Harold Ballard was a single owner and cheaped out on the team for decades. It's all unfortunately a business, entertainment, betting, but single owners are not it. Old Chip Clips owner was also gross. It depends on the owner. I mean, sure, there's a lot of gross old owners, and I get it. Harold Ballard was absolutely horrible, and a lot of people really hate him here in Toronto. But there's good owners more likely these days. Some of these people have so much money that they just don't know what to do with it, like Steve Ballmer. And you're going to tell me that Steve Ballmer is not a great owner to have for your team. You can't tell me that Mark Cuban isn't a great owner to have for your team. And you can't tell me that Matashiba is a great owner to have a team. Even Joe Tsai, for what he's done with the Nets since he came in there, has been a great owner for them. We want something like that. So I'm way more about single owners at this point than the corporate kind of gridlock that can happen. I'm telling you, with the way that it's set up with the 50-50 between Bell and Rogers is destined to be a catastrophe because in some ways they're competitors and they don't really want, they argue over every single year when we get our schedule, Rogers and Bell fight over which one of the games they're going to get. And they fight tooth and nail over each and every 82 game of the season. All of them. They fight every season. They have people that argue and fight. Well, if you're going to get this game with the Lakers, we get the game with the Warriors on this day. There's so much nitpicking. So just imagine how much that'll be without some sort of in-between guy like Tanenbaum. That's what I worry about right there. That's what I worry about. Monique saying, you just answered my question. Thanks. So I got all cleared for the season yesterday. Hope I see some of you freaks. You will see us, Monique. You'll see us down there. I'll make sure we try and link up with you at different parts. Yeah. MSJ saying Marge Schott of the Reds, a disaster. Donald Trump owned the Generals of the USFL. What a disaster he was for that team. I don't know what your point is with that, Chris. Sure, there's racists that have owned sports teams in the past. Things are a little bit more woke. Donald Sterling got ousted. Marge Schott was outed as a Nazi, and she was found out to be a horrible person to kind of get behind. I don't get what your point is. They vet the ownership of teams now at this point. They learned from Donald Sterling. So do you think that Adam Silver is trying to have another Donald Sterling come up? No. So if we get a singular owner, it's not likely that it's going to be some crazy ass racist like those people you named. Come on, man. Come on, man. And sure, we can pick apart the Pistons owner for a little while on this. Sure. Yeah, he's somebody like this. He's somebody we should give some attention to with how he made his money. But come on, man. If you're anti one single owner and this is your reasoning, this is so stupid. Don't you understand that the owners today are like more like Joe Tsai and Matashiba, and they care about the team because they're kind of like fans also, like Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban may have been the first kind of owner like this. Well, that's the kind of owner I want. I want a fan owner like Mark Cuban or Steve Ballmer or Matashiba. These guys are good owners. They're investing in their team and they really want to win. So what's not to like about that? Way, way better than some corporate board that's like, yeah, this isn't feasible for our bottom line. So I have to vote no on this. No on the WNBA. Of course, I'm upset about this because it showed that our MLSE board is cheapskates and they couldn't figure out some sort of way to accommodate WNBA games. The WNBA is hardline. It has to be Scotiabank Arena. And, maybe I don't know how much they actually talked to them. Who knows how much they actually got to this point. And then all of a sudden they pulled the plug out on them. And in some ways, I worry about that because it seemed like they wanted to make a big announcement yesterday. We already knew about the Golden State expansion. I thought that they were going to announce yesterday we were getting our team. Well, no. MLSE said, no, we blocked that. We're not going to do it. We dropped our bid. And that's disappointing. That's disappointing for every single little 6-year-old girl that dreams of watching WNBA games and coming to games here. Every single 8-year-old boy that dreams of going to WNBA games and coming to games here. And people say, oh, there's no kids like that. Bullshit. Just because your old head ass is a chauvinist doesn't mean these young children aren't as chauvinists. Like they're not. They're not like y'all. And old head ideals die out with old heads. And young people are way more open-minded, woke, and equality and all. And they would be like, yeah, there were so many young kids at the game, not just young women, young boys were also there too. So it's like, it's just bad for expanding interest in the sport in Canada. The decision made yesterday is what I must say. That's what I'll say on that. David's saying, is Donald going to be the first president to run a country from behind bars? Maybe they'll just put bars around the Oval Office or something. He can chill in there. Well, how is he going to run with all these indictments? If he's going to still continue to run, it'll be disaster for the right wing of the politics down south. And I'm okay with that. You go ahead and be a dumpster fire and just keep collecting all your charges and your court cases and all your sentences. And you continue to be the front runner for that side of the party. Yeah, that party. Yeah, you go ahead. That's just great. That you hand that next win to Biden easily. Thank you. Thank you, Trump. Go ahead and do that. Yeah. Wayne's saying, cheer up, Lex. We know the fight is hard. Hang on. I jumped. Cheer up, Lex. We know the fight is hard, but we have each other. Let's stick to the greatness of our team. You know what, Wayne Strainer, you're exactly right. In some ways, I was coming to you guys this morning for a little bit of solace because honestly, I was really disappointed. In some ways, I'm very pessimistic about what happened yesterday and what ramifications of possibilities in the future with MLSE being around our team. And it really does kind of worry me. But I appreciate what you're saying, and you're right. We got each other, and I'll do this channel even if these fucks are corporate assholes for decades, and we have a really fucked up team for a while. I'll continue to do this no matter what. It's just I may get really angry at them from time to time. But man, it's really tough. Monique is saying, shout out to Amit Man. Great interviews lately. Yeah, he had another one yesterday released with OG Anunoby sitting down with Amit Man. And pretty matter of fact, OG is really a lot more savvy in interviews now. It's very interesting what he has to say. He's a very matter of fact dude. And in some ways, he doesn't really have anything like specific that he likes to key on. That's why when they asked him, what was the most memorable thing about your summer? He said, oh, everything. And well, Amit's asking him similar kind of questions. And he's saying, yeah, all of it, everything. Yeah, that's just how OG is. He's everything, baby. I'm all about that, though. But yeah, good interview with OG. It's not often you get OG in those kind of interview kind of scenarios. Good job, Amit, man. You're really coming around and doing way better this week. I've been seeing more positive slants on stuff from Raptors media this week, which has been nice. There's a lot of good information coming out from the training camps. That's all positive, and kind of good. And I appreciate people like Michael Grange and Josh Lewinberg, Oren Weisfeld, a lot of those people were putting out good stuff about the Raptors to start the season. I mean, it makes sense. You want to get the fans' interest for the new season. What, you gonna write how shitty things are and how miserable everything is? Yeah, thank you for putting out positive press. I will give you guys kudos when you guys are doing that, and you're doing it right now. Most of y'all are right now, seriously, and I appreciate it. Quick Takes is saying enough respect, Lex and the Rabbit Freaks. Let's get it. You go, NBA Quick Takes. Doing a 2-hour stream last night. I saw you were talking about different issues around the NBA. Give NBA Quick Takes a good follow and subscribe. G saying approximately 10 teams fund the entire NBA. There's a revenue sharing model that allows most teams to exist. They do this to invest in these cities and players until they become profitable. Yeah. And I think we're one of the teams that actually makes money, but I'm not totally sure. We're close. We probably break even, or we make just a little bit more. I don't know. Either way, I hate this aspect of the whole thing. In fact, this is the kind of stuff that I'd ask Mike to just know about, and I don't want to know about. Because I really hate this kind of side of things. I really like the basketball side. I like the player side. And I like watching basketball. I don't like all the business at the top that in some ways controls some of it. I really hate that stuff. All right, let's see. MSJ saying misogynist, women's rights and such is not much about basketball. If it was women, women would be filling the seats at the games. It's a dollars and cents argument. Sad you would attack me as such. Listen, I think anybody who's anti-WNBA and just poo-poos it and says that it's not for profit and this and just says, just go away. I call them that. I'm sorry. In some ways, I feel like you're closed-minded about this. It's not necessarily about it being profitable. It's about equal rights. It's about people getting access to being able to play a sport just like the men do. And that's what I'm talking about. We're looking at it in different ways, in some ways, Chris. And that's fine. We can be different on this. It's fine. If you feel like you're attacked, I apologize. But it's a misogynist line of thinking, some of the anti-WNBA stuff out there. And I would caution you to search your feelings and the way you think about it and just kind of really analyze it in a little bit. Because in some ways it's not fair. And there's no reason for you to pile on against the WNBA in this situation. If you don't care about it, just don't talk about it. Right now, I'm pissed. I'm pissed about their decision. And if you're arguing against that, I mean, okay, that's fine. You can, and I won't get pissed at you. I'm pissed at the decision. But in some ways, I don't understand why you're trying to justify this so much. I get why they didn't do this. I get all the reasons. But there's no reason to put down the WNBA at the same time. WNBA is getting stronger and stronger, and I support it. So I don't know. In some ways, we're looking at things totally different from different mindsets, I think, right now. And for me, it's an expansive mindset. And I don't want to be like limiting people's opportunities is what I'm trying to get across right now. Basic Training Day says WNBA loses money. It doesn't make money. Well, I don't care. Some ways I don't give a shit about that. In some ways I'm very much this person that says at some point, every single person on this earth has to decide what matters to them more. Is it the money or is it humans? Is it life? Is it like people? And in some ways, this is a decision to me that should be more about people than money. And a lot of places have decided this, and they're fine with running their WNBA teams at partial loss because they understand it's an investment for the future and an investment for people. And that's what I don't get. That's the thing that I don't get. In some ways, we want to make that investment here in Toronto, and it would be smart in the long run. Because in some ways it'll be profitable at some point and it will be something good. Now, see, that's part of the problem. People have this mindset, it will never be profitable. It will never be profitable. They're wrong. It's going to get profitable, and it's probably going to get profitable in the near future more than like long time from now, because there is way more interest in that game than ever right now. And I don't know. In some ways, it's like, I get it. But in some ways, I choose people over money every single time. And maybe that's part of the reason why my life is the way it is. But I will not change my life just for that. Because in some ways, I have integrity more than the average person that's just trying to chase as much money as possible and hustle at the detriment of everyone else. So, yeah. I have a very different philosophical view than a lot of people in the world. And maybe I'm a little bit ahead and a little bit more progressive. Maybe I'm not in my right time, because at some point we're all going to maybe have to make this decision. Are you more for money and making profits, even though you're destroying the environment even though you're like subjugating people that work under you to like live a life in poverty at a squalor wage, but you make the money. I don't know. So a lot of people shouldn't be able to get up in the morning and look at themselves in the mirror with the way that they are accumulating their wealth. I don't know. I don't know. It's just a philosophical thing. Let's just put it that way. How about that? How about that? David's saying, yeah, it's all right. It's just one of those days. I'm sure it's not meant as an attack, although that's how it may have come across. We got to remember, it must take a lot of energy to do what Lex does. It does in some ways. It really does. And being able to get up and be in kind of a good mood every morning, it's not totally me. I was never a morning person. It's kind of hilarious that I do this stream in the morning because I was the person in my 20s and 30s that slept till like 2 p.m. every day, slept till 3. I would stay up till 5 a.m. all night and be out and do whatever I wanted. And I would sleep all day. That really was me in my younger adult days. And that's not me anymore, obviously, especially since I quit drinking 13 years ago. That's changed over time. So, yeah, I'm not trying to attack Chris in particular. Now, there's a couple of things Chris has done in the stream in the last 2 weeks that I've totally not agreed with, and it's fine. It's all good. We're all different people, and it is what it is. Stargate saying Halifax would be a good city to have a WNBA team there. Little known fact, women's basketball is very popular in Nova Scotia, especially at the high school level. That sounds like a brilliant, smart pairing and marriage. In some ways that would be smart. Now the travel to get all the way the hell out to Halifax from all the rest of the WNBA teams needs to be factored in. But I would bet you they would support the hell out of that. And they would, that's part of what they're looking at too, is they do want women's basketball hotbeds of where there is enthusiasm, like what you're describing, Stargate. So, I'd like to get a team in Canada. It's not going to be in Toronto because MLSE is going to block it. Well, Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary, I don't know. Any of the other major cities, go get one. Seriously. Let's make the WNBA an international league. David's saying every day, some days are better than others. Good point, Stargate. That's not a bad idea at all. Yeah. You know what? Honestly, this has been a great week for the Raptors. It's just that decision yesterday really was disappointing. And I don't expect y'all to be as disappointed as I am. And honestly, I'm going to move past this. It's just, I got to talk about it today because it's today's news and it's today's subject. And I want to fully look at it and talk about it from all the different angles. I get why they said no. It may be a very smart business decision, but it's also like this may be one of the best opportunities to get in there in this place. The WNBA may be like, we don't want to come and do a preseason game up there and test y'all again to see if this is going to happen up here because y'all jerked us around last time. That's part of it. You don't want to jerk people around, jerk that league around and say, yeah, we'd like you to come and make a team up here. And then boom, all of a sudden the ownership group up here pulls the plug right at the last second. That's no good in some ways. That is no good. That's not good faith business is what I'm saying. CountryCon saying, good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lex, after yesterday's practice, I feel I overreacted to Siakam's media day. Both Darko and Pascal seem to be on the same page. I think he was just offended by the selfish label. Yeah, he was very offended, and he's been on the defensive. That's part of why he said the things he said yesterday. He's like, I don't understand why y'all are coming at me with this. All of us have got to do the same thing in adjusting to Darko's new system. And it's like, I'm going through it just like OG's going through it. I'm going through it just like Malachi is going through it. I'm going through it just like Scotty's going through it. So I'm not any different than these other guys. We're all learning the system together at the same time. And in some ways, that's great because in some ways he's saying, like, I'm not a superstar. I don't get special treatment. I'm with these guys all the same, and we're all going through it together. And I like that. And he had weird energy. I think in some ways he was out of touch with the team a lot of this summer, just doing his own thing, doing his Red Bull in Austria. And he finally came back and rendezvoused, and maybe coming back, he's like, okay, things have changed a lot. We got a new coach, new faces around, and he's just getting settled and oriented. And the first day of media day was really the first day he was back, maybe. And it may have been like, he's kind of getting back into the energy of being around the Raptors. So there could be a couple of things why Siakam was a little standoffish and felt like being defensive on Monday at media day. MSJ saying at David, I'm not worried, not a big deal. Have some of my former players in Jewel and maybe college onto the NBA. I know who I am. See, and that's the thing I'm forgetting too, is Chris has very much invested in women's basketball as being a coach of women in basketball. And I do applaud you on that. Listen, if I'm misinterpreting or misrepresenting you, Chris, I apologize. It's just that line of thinking. I tie it to a lot of the noise on the WNBA posts right now that are saying, "Why the fuck is this league still going on? It should be dead. It should be gone. It should be this." I don't want you to sound like those kind of voices, and that's what I took it as in the beginning. And maybe I misinterpreted you. I know you specifically in your own life have very much been very giving and very good in this area. So you know what, you're right. You reminded me of something that yeah, you actually walk the walk because of what you're actually done in your life. So all right, I applaud you for that, Chris. And you know maybe that term misogynist, it's mere misogynist thinking. I don't think you're a misogynist. I think that some of the line of thinking that comes from those kind of ideas and thinking can be, but yeah, you're not. Yeah, and that's unfair for me to say, honestly. David's saying, yeah, yesterday's training camp interview, everyone seemed like they were much more comfortable. Yeah, yeah. They're happy and it's going well. That's the thing. Darko is really like happy. You can tell. Like if he was stressed and worried about things, you know, he might be like that. But the other thing is great. Gradey was talking about how the team got along really, really good already. And then Dennis showed up from Germany all of a sudden, and he's just been a plus on top of that. And that like he's fit in like a glove. This is what Grady's voice like. Dennis showed up and he fits like with us so well. Like he's saying his personality goes really, really well with the Raptors already. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And they also said Dennis is a really good professional. Like he's very interesting to talk to and the way he carries himself. Well, we can see it. We see it on YouTube. We see the way he talks to everybody and the way he carries himself. And that's the bona fide real Dennis. And it's great that he's right off the bat fitting in with everybody and everybody's getting along. And they look like they really do look like a happy family right now. They really do. And I'm all about that. That's really important from last year. Really, really important. Quick Takes is saying a Canadian WNBA team has to be a good business move, especially Toronto or Vancouver. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen here at this point. In some ways, we were just rejected the WNBA, and they may be like a little bit like knocking us down on the list of other cities that they may go be more invested in looking at ahead of us now. In some ways, we really kind of screwed up in a way. If they go to Vancouver instead of us, I wouldn't blame them. And I would be so happy for the people of Vancouver, honestly. Get another team to support. Stargate saying Pascal is a professional. He wants to be successful. These players realize they're playing for the most different team in the league. We need to be successful to gain their respect. Yeah. Yeah, these guys are all about winning. All right, let me go and talk to you guys about something that's on ESPN this morning. They had the rankings come out this morning, preseason rankings by Kevin Pelleton. He's given a stat-based win projection for all 30 teams, and he really actually did us a solid, guys. You know, a lot of people are saying we're going to be like 10th or 11th or 12th. Well, he has us all the way up at 7th, actually tied for 7th with Miami. He thinks that we'll get 42.7 wins this year. That's 43 wins if you round it up. That's 2 more wins than we did last year, and that hits us with being a successful year this year in my book. Now, it's great. He says this, even with the loss of point guard Fred VanVleet in free agency, the Raptors were one of my 4 teams that were most likely to improve based on their underlying stats last season. Toronto's plus 1.5 differential ranked 6th in the East, and that was with opponents scorching the Nets from a 3-point range, which tends not to carry over. The Raptors also have 5 players projected with at least 0.8 points per 100 possessions, better than average at their position, tied with the Celtics and Grizzlies for the most in the NBA. So this is fantastic. They've got us in 8th in the East, behind the Heat, but actually really tied with them. So in some ways you could say that's 7th, that we're really 7th. And then above us, they've got the Hawks, the Knicks, the Sixers, the Bucks, the Cavs, and the Celtics. Now, you know, I really do think if you're going to really say we could be 7th, well, why couldn't we be possibly in the top 6 and avoid that play-in bracket? Because seriously, if we get to 6, we're out of the play-in. We're in that last playoff spot. That'd be fantastic. We get to 5th. That'd be great. So, you know, thank you, Kevin Pelleton, for putting us above the Nets, the Pacers, the Hornets, the Bulls, the Magic, the Wizards, the Pistons. Yeah, and not so far near the bottom. So ESPN actually showing some respect to us and saying that we're going to be better than people think. And I appreciate that by them. I really do. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, let's see. G saying a lot of the narrative is that the WNBA isn't profitable, but their value has gone up a lot. I think there is some confusion with this. Companies reinvesting show profit loss. It's taken 14 years and nearly 32 billion of cumulative losses, but ride sharing and food delivery company Uber is finally a profitable company on August the 2nd, 2023. There you go. So in some ways, yeah, you do have to invest and kind of get going and to provide it. You got to nurture your company when it may not be profitable, and then you get around to it being profitable again. In some ways, I get it. I get it. The WNBA in some ways people is not people's cup of tea. Some people are threatened by it. Some people are threatened by it because it's not hockey. Some people are threatened by it because it's women. There's a lot of different reasons why. In some ways, we could say that the league is predominantly made up of African American women, and in some ways, that is a section of the population that gets the shaft in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different reasons for different things on this. Top saying, agree totally. I would prefer an NBA owner who's more passionate NBA fan. I'm not sure the Rodgers are big basketball fans, but they know it's profitable. Yeah, that's the thing. Oh man, if we could just get somebody come in here and just buy it from the top. Warren Buffett, where are you? Warren Buffett. Look, Drake is honestly one of the very rich person. I mean, he's going to be even more rich after today. Who knows how much money he makes today just off his new album? It could be enough to buy MLSE out and just be the owner of the team. Seriously, think about this, Drake. You want to be a badass? You want to be a Toronto hero forever? You are already, but you could go to a whole other level of, man, how we love Drake so much. Seriously. Like, if you could save our Toronto sports teams and actually make them winners and make us more of a championship sports team again because of these assholes not running things, you could run the Leafs and the Raptors, baby. Come on. Forget about the Jays. Let Rodgers have his stupid shit and fuck that team up. Too bad. It's sad. We wish we could, but we can't bail out everything. Just take care of MLSE. Buy them all out. Buy all the arenas. Buy OVO Center. It's all yours. It's got your symbol on it already. Go fucking buy the OVO Center and the whole entire of MLSE as far as the Scotiabank Arena and everything. Do it, Drake. Do it. I believe you could. Seriously. It's $5 billion, but who knows? Maybe you can make $10 billion in the next 10 years off that team. We got to see. That's what I'm saying. Stargate saying the Kings owner and his hot daughter. See, they've got all kinds of good owners around the league, and we may be moving towards worse ownership very soon. And that sucks. We don't need this. We seriously don't need this. In some ways, people down south are very happy that this may happen with our ownership. This may be very happy for Philadelphia and Celtics Nation. Oh man, I hate this. Trevor J saying, hang on. Jumped. All right, let me see. Trevor J is saying, all Raptor freaks, we need to get together and buy the team. That's kind of like the teacher's pension fund owning the team before. I get it. I don't know if that's the right idea, Trevor. You're the commissioner. David saying Mark Cuban is the GOAT owner. In some ways, he's like the first really cool, awesome, fan, passionate owner in the NBA that really, really like got in there. I know Pat Croce was kind of like that for Philadelphia back in the day too. Yeah, man. But Mark Cuban is one of my favorite owners ever. The way he got fined, the way he was such a badass. Oh man, he's a hero in some ways. And the things he's done with insulin work and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, he's a saint in some ways too. The work that Mark Cuban does outside of basketball is amazing in some ways. He really does do a lot of good. Nameless is saying if Drake was the owner, it would suddenly become cool to play in Toronto. That would probably be the most any celebrity has done for the city. It'd be crazy if it happened. I mean, in some ways, I wonder if he could financially actually do it. Maybe that's part of what we need to do. I don't think Drake could do it. Drake, you probably couldn't own all these teams. You're not rich enough. Yeah, you're not rich enough, Drake. You couldn't do that. Oh, yeah? Let's start that noise. Let's start saying, Drake, you couldn't own the Raptors. You couldn't own the MLSE. Come on, Drake, just do it. Just buy it. Just buy it. That'd be amazing if you could. That'd be so amazing. David saying Drake's gonna need to start selling albums if he wants to buy the team. You don't think this man sells albums, David? I don't think you understand what Drake has done in the last 20 years. You really don't understand. He's like our modern day Michael Jackson. This dude's breaking Michael Jackson's records for sales, breaking the Beatles records for sales. You don't understand this about our guy? That this dude is the number one dude in music in the last 2 decades, and he makes the most money out of anybody in music. He has the most streamed songs. He has the most downloaded stuff. This dude is making money hand over fist. That's why this man could go to the Atlanta strip club last weekend with a Tupperware of $250,000 in big chunks and just throw it out like crazy. And Trevor J's friend got $10,000 themselves by themselves. This man just gave strippers, like 100 strippers, $10,000 each, something like that. You think he can't do this? Seriously, this man probably can. This man probably can. MSJ Stargate saying, MSJ, I'm kind of with you on this, and I know where you really want to go with it, but you can't because you will be vilified and misunderstood if you went there. But I get you, bro. There you go. You got support from Stargate, and I get this, guys. Listen, in some ways, I'm super ultra progressive. I am very, very far left. I'm very, very much equality for everyone and equal chances for everyone. And that's why I stand where I stand. Some of you guys may be coming more from an X's and O's, or money, dollar signs kind of mindset. And I get it. You're realistic. You're realistic. And in some ways, I can't disagree with you guys because I get the financial side doesn't make sense. It really didn't make sense. And in some ways, MLSE making that decision yesterday, whether they did, was a financial decision. I get it. It's completely a financial decision. But what it tells me is that they're going to make all their decisions financially in the future. And that scares the hell out of me. In some ways, you do not want to make all your decisions just for the profit margins and worrying about that. That's not good in some ways. That's not good. But yeah, I'm glad you're showing solidarity and support for MSJ. And once again, I don't want to vilify anybody too much or anything like that. I can disagree. I may be a little impassioned in how I do it, but I really am trying to do it with all due respect and not like go overboard. Seriously. Nameless saying, I'm for the people. That's right. Me too, Nameless. That's why I'm really enjoying that you're watching my 5-year anniversary shows of the Kensington Variety VIP Club, because there's a very strong underlying theme of this in that show. You watch it very closely. I'm trying to talk about how silly it is that we value money over people. In fact, that may be the whole theme of that show, is showing that the humanity of people is so much more rich and valuable than just a couple of dollars and cents and things that people are so much like valuing even more. In some ways, that made up system of monetary this or that it's so fucked up how it really drives certain people. And I'm not like that. I'm for the people. And I know Nameless is too. And he's watching my 5-year anniversary shows, and they're hilarious. We got one out today that was 5 years ago today. It was during the Canadian Thanksgiving, and I give a card to one of our customers in the episode today. You can find it in the community tab on this channel. It's so stupid, but it's fun. And I'm glad you're enjoying it, Nameless. You're going to get these episodes for the next 2 years, through like 3 or 4 a week. So you'll see the journey. If you watch it starting now, there's a whole like story arc. There are things that happen on that show that from episode to episode that you will want to follow. And it is very interesting stuff. You will see. You'll see as time goes on. Stargate saying, this is why I don't get into any WNBA conversations. I stay away for that like the plague. Yeah. All right. Well, all due respect, I appreciate that. I mean, if you guys are, I don't mind arguing with you guys, but in some ways we don't need to argue about this. In some ways, you guys are being very mature about this and not engaging further with me on this. Just let me be upset for one day. We won't talk about it anymore after this. And, there's no reason for us to have like bad feelings or anything like that. And I appreciate that. In some ways, I get it. I get it. In some ways, some people are like, yeah, this is just not meant to happen. But it's really disappointing. You'd have to see the people that I was with in the arena for that WNBA game. You tell them what they told us yesterday. You could see the disappointment on some people's faces because they really wanted this. They really, really did want this. Quick Takes is saying, to be honest, profits are a big reason investors stay away. Yeah, I get all that. But in some ways, that system's destined to crash. We live in a gilded age. It's almost really like the Roman Empire. We're too greedy. We have too much fucked up bullshit. We have people spending money on the most frivolous shit while people are starving also at the same time. In some ways, this kind of shit can't go on forever. And if it continues like this, society will crumble, partly because we were too greedy or we didn't take care of our earth or whatever. All those kind of things will cause that kind of shit. So, we're doomed if we don't get our head out of our ass and start having the right morals and things that are important, is what I'm saying. So, yeah. Kareem's saying, my daughter is a huge LaMelo Ball fan and owns like 8 pairs of his shoes. She's 19. I bought her Sabrina Ionescu shoes for her birthday last month, and she screamed, Sabrina, the future is now, WNBA. There you go. There you go. That's a great story. I love that. That's going to be a very different dunk for Kareem. He's getting a dunk for a feel-good story this time. So I like that story right there. You got a dunk for it. G saying WNBA eyes growth after record $75 million raised at $1 billion valuation. WNBA is now worth $1 billion, the whole entire league. Yeah. And our team is worth 5 times that. That's crazy. That's crazy. In some ways, that kind of gives you the picture of it. But still, it's good. The valuation of the WNBA is going up. It's not going down. That's good. G saying, while it might not turn a profit, the WNBA still makes money. In 2019, it was reported that the league brought in $60 million in revenue. 12.3 million of that was distributed to the players in salary. Yeah. See, there is some money being made on this. I mean, it's folly to think that there isn't. In some ways, like I said, there's the old guard out there. The whole reason why Ted Rogers III, Ed Rogers, is in charge is because of a good old boy system. He actually has an older sister who would be better at running Rogers. She would have ran the company better for the company, but there's a chauvinistic thing in the family where the daughter could not run the company. It had to be the male son that ran the company, that stayed that way. In some ways, we'd be much better hands if Ed Rogers' older sister was in charge instead. But that is what I'm talking about. And in some ways, that it reflects the whole issue here. Right here is gender inequality. Why isn't she running Rogers? Why isn't she? Because she's a woman. And that's there's a whole big problem with what we're talking about today is right there. That kind of thinking that I just described to you about why Ed Rogers is in charge of Rogers instead of his sister right now. That tells you everything right there. Yeah. Let's see. Stargate saying some of my favorite ball players are ladies. Teresa Witherspoon, who I wish was an assistant with the Raptors, Lisa Leslie, Dawn Staley, Candace Parker, and the great Venus Lacey. There you go. Lots of love for some of the players individually. Yeah. Listen, I know y'all can support women's basketball. It's just in some ways, once again, like I talk about noise for negative noise and positive noise. In some ways, I want to be part of that positive noise for the WNBA and not kind of like, well, I get why this isn't happening because this and this and this. And, it's all adding to the noise is what I'm thinking about right now. And you guys you're realistic. You're exactly right, MSJ, in some ways, and Stargate. You guys are exactly right. It's just, I don't like the news from yesterday. I'm going to be a little pissed off about it. And y'all are right. Okay, maybe Lex is overreacting to it. Sure. Maybe I am. You guys are fair on that. You're fair on that. Shaq Lindsay saying, I hate it when the talking point is Pascal was uneasy about his name being out there in the trade rumors and that Raptors were going to trade him to Atlanta. If it didn't come from the horse's mouth, why are we believing that? Exactly. Shams set that shit up for his sister. All that Pascal talk this summer, Shams made it up to try and help his sister, who's in the GM office of the Hawks. Yeah, they were trying to do weird shit with trying to get him dislodged from our team. And half of this shit wasn't true at all. Stargate saying, who are the 6 teams that are better? The Hawks and the Cavs? Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we can get a couple of spots up higher. I don't believe in the Celtics or the Sixers this year. No, I don't. People are going to talk about the Celtics this, Celtics that. They're going to get a rude awakening this year. They're going to find out the Celtics have problems. The Celtics do have problems. David's saying the Cavs made some good offseason moves. They may be all right. Yeah, I don't know how to gauge the Cavs. I'm not dissing them yet. I'm not saying they're going to be worse than last year because they could actually be better this year. Yeah, I'm not going after them right now. I really do think the Celtics and the Sixers will be worse this year. I think that in some ways Miami will be worse this year. So I don't know about Milwaukee. That's another weird one. Milwaukee could very well be okay with Lillard, but in some ways they may be worse this year. So I can't say that these teams that were top teams last year are necessarily going to be good this year like they were last year. I really don't believe that about the Sixers, the Celtics, and maybe even the Bucks, just a little bit. So yeah, it's very interesting. Let's see. Stargate saying the Cavs are not having a better record than the Raptors. I'm sorry. Mitchell does not want to be there. He'll tune it out. Yeah, I hope you're right. I like that prediction. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I like that they put us somewhere better than out of the playoffs. That 7 spot is not bad. It could be a lot worse. So thank you, Kevin Pelton. Seriously. Basic Training Day saying Cavs are better. Let's be realistic. I don't know if that's realistic. They always prop them up and say better things about them, and they poo-poo us. And I don't know where that actually does line up, like with the floaties in the water, if whether we are down below them or not. We could actually be very equal to them. Actually, you may be shocked. You may be shocked, even with Yang and Struce showing up for extra 3-point shooting for them. We got Gradey and Otto showing up, so there are some similarities to like the retooling of the Cavs and us. And the point that he made, Stargate, about Mitchell is exactly right. He's just biding his time. He's biding his time with them. In some ways, he's half-assed. He's kind of full of shit. You see how he talks when he's around the Cavs franchise. He's so full of shit. He's going to leave them as soon as he can. He's going to leave them as soon as he can. David's saying unclear they are better, but they ain't bad. Yeah, I don't know. I have more respect for them this year in some ways than I did last year going into the season. But still, I'm not gonna like talk them up. I hate Cleveland. I hate them. Shaq saying it serves us no purpose to trade Pascal if we don't sign him. The alternative is he walks for nothing. I guarantee the first person we sign is Pascal. We'll have to see. And once again, this is part of the reason why I'm so mad about yesterday. It's not just the WNBA decision. We have to worry about every single thing with money as far as like extensions for Siakam and whether MLSE is being tightwads. It could very well be Masai and Bobby are fighting with them and saying, well, look, this is Siakam. We've already invested all this time in him. We want to be competitive to sign him when he's coming up. We need to sign him, and we need to sign him for the max. And Ed Rogers like, he's not worth that money. Oh, my gosh, I can't believe you want to spend that money on him. He's not worth the money he's paid. That bullshit like he did to Masai. That's what I'm saying. If y'all have angst about extensions and stuff like that, direct it to the top, all the way to the top. To the ownership, not to the front office, because they are willing to spend. They want to spend. And if there's any tightwads and tight asses, it's in our ownership group. And realize that, Raptors fans, please realize that. Basic Training Day saying better defense, better interior defense and rebounding, and a better closer than anyone on the Raps right now. He's saying that about Cleveland. We don't do this here. This isn't like Cleveland propaganda channel. This is Raptor propaganda channel. Basic Training Day. I don't agree with this. This is all perception. This is your perception. My perception is we have a way better defense. In fact, I'm expecting an elite defense, maybe the top defense in the entire league for the Raptors this year. That's what they're saying. Is like, holy crap, you look at the guys we got, and if Scotty's bigger, stronger, and faster and all over the place, yeah, we got a better defense than the Cavs. So I'll say that right now. We have a better interior defense than the Cavs. You can say that about Mobley and Allen. Sure, they're a great twin tower kind of look. But in some ways, we have more big guys than they do. We have Siakam now, so you cannot forget that our interior defense is way better this year. And then also, Darko's keying on the interior defense. That's where he builds his defense from. So don't go by our defense from last year that was running like a chicken with his head cut off after the every which way. No, it's going to be a different system this year, and it's going to be built from the inside to the out. And the interior defense could be very good for us compared to the Cavs. So I'm going to give you either one of those. I will bet the Raptors will have better on both of those. The rebounding, sure, we could probably out-rebound them too. So, yeah, and the better closer, all right, I may give them that just because – Mitchell is a little bit more tested in this. But let's give Scott some time and see how he does as a closer. You didn't notice I didn't even say Siakam. Yeah, give Scott some time and see if he could be a better closer by the end of this year. So I will argue those points that I'll say we're at least equal, if not better, than most of them. And then also the last one, give us some time on. Give us some time. Wayne saying Pascal hesitates with when answering media nuanced questions When speaking about his charity work and positive things, he's speaking smooth and non-hesitant. He's such a good guy. Yeah, we've got a lot of really, like, honestly, in some ways, what I've described about myself about picking people over money, in some ways, that's kind of our dudes in some ways. I think that Jakob in some ways is like that with his decision to come back here. I think that the OG, the way he's talked recently, is like, I love Toronto. I love my teammates. In some ways, they hate the money side of this thing. They love the money, sure, to make it, but they hate talking about it and quibbling over it or making it a distraction. That's very obvious from their answers at media day. It's like, I let my agent handle this. I don't like thinking about the money. I like thinking about dribbling the basketball and putting it through the hoop. I don't want to think about that kind of stuff. And so in some ways, these guys are more oriented to be compassionate people instead of money hungry grubbing people like some NBA players are. Definitely like that. But these guys in some ways are people first people. PS 43 court down at Augusta Park, all the charity work these guys are doing. So I like that. I like that about our team. In some ways, they are picking people over money. And I like that about them. Kareem saying Trevor J. I got 5 on it. That's right. That's his team on the fantasy league. David saying, what I do understand is Drake has nowhere near enough money to buy the team. Laugh out loud. You don't know that. What is his net worth? I mean, let me go look at it real quick. Let's see if I can just Google this real quick. Drake's net worth. Let's see. Net worth in 2023. That's what we want. Drake. All right. Yeah, you may be right. It's saying here that he has 260 million. That is his net worth. Well, that's not a billion. So he isn't technically a billionaire. Maybe he can get a partnership group. Maybe he gets Justin Bieber and not Justin Bieber. Sorry, not you. Justin Bieber and Alanis Morissette and like get a whole bunch of Canadian amazing mega artists and they'll have a musical ownership group. I love that. Any which way we can make this happen. So David was technically right. Drake does not have the amount of money to buy the team, but he does have 260 million. That's a lot. Still, Stargate saying we will see about the Cavs, but I hate their fan base just as much as I hate the Celtics and the Sixers. Fuck them. Yeah, they don't like us. In some ways, Cavs Nation, Cleveland Sports Nation has similar problems that Toronto has. They have choke artist kind of like mentalities with their like Guardians and their teams and stuff have had failures and different sadness and stuff. So in some ways they look at us and like they want to compete with us to be a little bit better than us. So they're not as like, people talk about sports cities and they say, oh, Toronto and Cleveland, they've had a lot of failure and sadness. Well, they're competing with us to not have as much failure and sadness as us. And that's part of the reason why Cavs Nation in particular takes a special notice with us. And then you add in the whole rookie battle between Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley in the last couple of years. And yeah, there's all kinds of new fuel to the fire between Cavs Nation and Raptors Nation. They talked a lot of shit too because they're a little bit better now. They when they have LeBron around, they talk a lot of shit. They still like their LeBronto bullshit, all that fucking bullshit. Cavs fans are annoying. You're exactly right. Yeah. Basic Training Day saying Drake is worth 250 million. That's nowhere near enough to be able to buy the team. Okay, so I just looked that up, and you were right. Yeah, I guess I thought that maybe it's like, man. Maybe streaming just doesn't make as much money as I thought. He's still got a lot of money. I don't know. Maybe he can be part of a group. I don't know. We're going to figure this out. We got to somehow, some way. David's saying Drake's net worth is 250 million. He ain't buying no $3 billion team. Yeah, I was just hopeful thinking. I guess I wasn't realistic. Y'all are right. Let's see. Yeah, NBA owners are billionaires. Yeah, y'all set me straight. All right. It was a pipe dream that we could get Drake to do it. Wayne saying Aubrey Graham not only does music, which he owns his new products, but he's in other media like Netflix shows, Top Boy, Euphoria, for instance. Yeah, he has a couple different endeavors for sure. Quick Take saying, is Siakam okay taking a back seat to Barnes? That's an interesting question. I don't know if it's going to be like that. It's not like going to be that way. They're going to be very equal. And, I think what Darko said this week is, the clutch and the trying to win the games at the end of the game isn't going to be a set guy. So there may be nights where Siakam is trying to still take us home and be that clutch player. But then there may be nights where he calls Scotty's number instead. So I don't think that there's any kind of sheer hierarchy or a perceivable hierarchy. It's going to be very equal. And in some ways, if Scotty wants to be perceived as above Siakam, he's got to perform better than him. And nothing will do that otherwise. It's really going to be who executes and does it and is the man and takes over and wins games for us more often. then they get that moniker. It doesn't happen ahead of time. It's like that's what the problem is with the NBA. They're ordaining and giving things to people before they actually earn it. Well, whichever one of the Raptors wants to step up and be that man and that clutch guy that wins his games at the end of the game by hitting big shots, like Fred would try to do before, that is who we will say is like, maybe there's a backseat to Barnes on one night because he took over and won the game for us at the end of the game. But the next night, Siakam does it. The next night, OG does it. The next night, Gary does it. That's kind of what's going to be quick takes right there. So there isn't going to be no literal back seat. They're all in the front seat, and they're all got one hand on the steering wheel. Some people will say, well, that sounds like it's going to be more of the mess like last year. Well, no, not if they're organized, and they really do have a strong protocol of behavior and order of what you're supposed to do in the system. If they all follow the system, and the system is a system of teamwork and everybody getting to touch the ball, and there's no selfishness, then there shouldn't be any problems. There shouldn't be any problems. Let's see. David's saying there's no back seat. Everyone's sitting shotgun. He said exactly what I said just now. That's amazing. I didn't even read what he said. Maybe I perceive things like subliminally or reading just out of the corner of my eye. And I'm like, oh, that's a cue right there. I don't know. But he said exactly what I just said. That's crazy. I guess great minds think alike, David. Seymour is saying that 14-hour drive to Vancouver. Looking forward to Raptors basketball this weekend. You go, Seymour Pave. That's so awesome. What a dedicated Raptors freak. He's driving from Calgary to Vancouver for the game on Sunday. And, oh, man, I applaud you, Sheriff. You go and give us some eyes on the court and give us a firsthand report when you get down there. Safe travels getting there, too. Kareem saying at NBA Quick Takes, the ball will find the best player every possession. And the best player is the open one. That's the thing. That was the wrong thing with Nick. It's like that we needed to find the open guys. There were so many open guys all over the place. And that's why people were so mad at Fred and Pascal. Is that they saw the other guys being open and they weren't getting the shots. And that's really the way it's got to be. Is the player who's open should be taking the shots. Carlos saying Drake doesn't need to buy it alone. He can form an ownership group. The point is Drake has gravity to own a team. He does have a good base of doing it, but in some ways he doesn't want to clear out his whole coffers on something like that. I don't know. I don't know if this is realistic, but it's an interesting idea. If it's not him, maybe there is a super rich billionaire around that would come and help us out, and he'd be a good one, not a racist one or a problematic one. Maybe there is somebody like this around here. I don't want to be like somebody like Galen Weston. That'd be fucked up. Oh my gosh. We do need an owner though, like a singular owner. I don't want no corporate board running our team. That's never a good thing. That's why Larry is so key right now. Quick take saying at Cream. Okay, what's that mean though? Barnes seems to be the focal point. He's not though, and that's the thing that that really is an important thing. Is that Barnes may actually get to do more on the court because the system allows and is conducive to him doing it, but it has to all be in the flow and the naturalness of the system. The system is 1 through 4, and that means the point guard through the power forward are interchangeable, and they'll be doing the same things. And it's really the actions have to be the protocol to what is set by the coach. Is that you're in this possession, you got 0.5 seconds each time you touch the ball. As soon as you get the ball, you have to decide, are you going to shoot, drive, or pass? And basically, you got to do it right away. And, well, if your defender's at you and you're right on you, well, you've got to pass. Or if you feel like they're too close to you and you can get a step around them, you can go around them and drive. That's the kind of thing. It's going to be like a protocol of actions according to what the defense is showing you. And then you go do. If you got to make that extra pass because your defender came to you, you shouldn't shoot it with the guy running at you in certain ways. In some ways, you want to get the most wide open shot for the highest percentage shot. So it's really a protocol of actions that you kind of go through in each split second, and you want to make the right decision. So it's either you pass, you shoot, or you drive. And each one of those guys will be making a decision, and there'll be a system and a weave and the way they do it. And they'll be looking for the other guy, and that's how it'll work. It'll be something like that. Does that make sense? I can try and explain it more explicitly in other ways, actually, after we see some of it. I'm going ahead of time without even seeing it, kind of explaining it. But when we see it on Sunday, I'll be able to give you more like nuts and bolts terms of what we're doing. I don't know exactly how the formations and the weaves and the screens and the running around Jakob's going to work until we actually see it. But that's in theory what it should be, what I just said. G saying Snoop Dogg's net worth is 160 million, and he teamed up with a group to buy the Ottawa Senators. Senators are worth 800 million, and Raptors are 3.34 billion. It is possible with a wealthy group like what Snoop did. Yeah, and we're seeing more athletes and musicians in ownership. Magic Johnson, part owner of the Washington Commanders. This stuff is good. This stuff is good. You want people that are competitive and passionate to be running your team, and not just people that are businessmen, because the businessman will only look at the numbers on the ledger, and the passionate fan owner like Magic Johnson is like, I want to see the Commanders win a Super Bowl, and we are pushing for that. You want athletes or people that are competitive to be running your team. You don't want people that are like accountants that are looking at the black and the red ink. No, no, that's what we don't want for ownership. Trust me, we do not want that. Yeah. Let's see. Wayne's saying system and execution is the key to a championship this year. We shall see. Yeah, I don't know if it's realistic for us to get a championship this year, but we're definitely going to damn for sure try. Why even put in the effort, show up, or do any of these things if you don't want to try and get to the absolute top? So we'll see. We'll see how things develop this year. Hopefully, we have good luck this year. We had bad luck last year. Well, hopefully, we have good luck this year. Country Kong saying, I can't believe we play in just 2 days. Yeah, we're going to do the preview on Sunday morning, 9:30. I'll be up and we'll do that preview. I'm not watching the games with you guys, so you watch it on your own. I'll watch it by myself and we'll react to it on Monday. But yeah, I'm excited about it. We'll have the new look preview stream on Sunday morning. A bit different way I'm going to do the previews this year. A little bit different. Quick Take saying at Country Kong, yeah, we're excited. I can't wait either. Shaq Lindsay saying the Caps got swept by New York. The Knicks, yeah. Yeah, there you go. I mean, part of it is, once again, Mitchell's heart's not in it. He's worried about the black and red ink, his career, his contract. He's worried about getting to New York. He's worried about getting to Miami. He's worried about getting anywhere but Cleveland. Well, why would his heart be in, even if he's that clutch guy? He's supposed to take a team home. Why is Donovan Mitchell expected to be that guy if he doesn't really want to be there? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying right there. Let's see. G saying, but it probably is a stretch for Drake to buy it. He may not have full say in decisions anyway. Yeah, it would suck. That's why you kind of like a singular top dog who's kind of not many cooks in the kitchen. And Steve Ballmer, Matt Ashiba, Mark Cuban. That's what we're talking about. Kareem saying NBA quick takes, it means unselfish basketball. I think Darko's trying to highlight every player's best attributes and not create any focal points. Yeah. I mean, he's going to use their really good stuff, their really good attributes in the system. But in some ways, it's not like we have a designated like franchise player who's just scoring everything. Siakam should not be considered our franchise player at this point. In some ways, he's a starter, an all-star, and an all-NBA level player. But in some ways, the way our system's going to be so equal, it shouldn't be looked at as he's like the guy who carries us on our shoulders. Like it shouldn't feel like that, like it did last year. It should not feel like that this year. And that may be a big difference. But it's equal. It's on equally broad shoulders of Scott, Precious, OG, Gary, Dennis, Jalen McDaniels, all of them. Let's see. Top saying, what exactly is Rodgers taking over? Because that's actually a legit concern. If we have three free agents, they could fire Masai and tank us like the Leafs because they want Leafs and Jays to be the top teams. Yeah, I worry about this. I very much worry about this. I very, very, very much worry about this. I say good health and love and beautiful karma and best things for Larry Tanenbaum. I want you to stay in your spot for as long as possible. Some people have said recently in the stream that Masai's contract runs out with Larry's contract, and that may be in 2 years, guys. So that it won't be any time before that, at least top of top. So yeah, we may be on the clock here. We may very well be here on the clock. In some ways, Masai gets that success and gets the second championship for us. Then he has some ammunition to like say stuff. In some ways, if he's not successful, well, in some ways, what you're describing may be easier for them to do. So yeah, there's a lot riding on things. Darko has a lot riding on his shoulders right now to be successful. We need you to do this. And Scott, you got to help him, man. You got to help him so much this year, Scotty. You got to be the real you, man. Top saying those three free agents aren't worth that money and letting them walk for nothing is a quick way for ownership to tank our team. Exactly. Exactly. That's why we don't need this. We don't need any of that. Quick take Santa Cream, a team without a focal point. Well, it's not really a focal point. It's a philosophy. It's a system. And in some ways, it's bucking the whole NBA kind of like franchise player, like this is our focal point player kind of thing. We're being anti NBA superstar showcase. We're being more FIBA, is basically what it is. I guess that's the easiest way to describe it. Cool Cat saying when Rogers takes full control of Raptors, it will ruin us, will destroy fan base, etc. I may have to ship out at that point. See, I hate that. And I don't want to lose a real one like you. Some ways I'll stick with this team through anything. In some ways I am a masochist like that. I'm not going to go away. I don't care. Every kind of level of whatever the Raptors are, I will follow them. I've just made that dedication. And it may be painful and it may be tough, but I'm still going to do what I do. And I will do it the way I do it right now. And if I have to be super critical in certain ways and still try and be positive on certain things, I will. But yeah, I don't like hearing that, Cool Cat. That if this happens, that you might have to ship out. No, that's no good. You're a real one. Come on. I know your heart's with us, even if you're not as heavily invested or able to like stay as attention close. Yeah, I know there's somewhere in your heart you always have it there. You always will. G saying Ted Rogers, Edward Rogers makes me very nervous. My friend was an executive there. He fired top guns before promotions and what they called low hanging fruit. No competition allows high prices in mid service. Yeah, he's a monopolizer. He's not he doesn't hasn't you feel like you get good value for your Rogers cable bill? You feel like you get good value for your Rogers phone service or whatever else you might have through Rogers? Really, seriously. Does Blue Jays fans feel like they get good value for their baseball team right now? You know, that's what I'm saying. And we don't need any of that. And I've heard a lot of different stories from different people that work for Rogers and the way things changed when he took over and how he runs things. Yeah, he's the epitome of like this fucking Nepo baby that grew in and got everything. And honestly, he's not a very smart guy. He's just an asshole. He literally is like a Montgomery Burns. And fuck him. Seriously. In some ways, he wasn't happy when we won the championship. You know, he seemed like he was, but he wasn't. He wasn't. Let's see. Top saying ownership knows even if they tank our season by allowing players to walk, fans will still show up and sell out because the team is ingrained in the community, especially after the chip season. I don't want this team being run like the Leafs. Yeah, I'm with you on this. You know what? I'll even say this. I'll do the opposite and say don't support the Raptors if it goes this way. Fans don't buy tickets. Seriously, let's send them a message. Let's not be like the Leafs. If they are going to do this to our team, let's not support it. I'm okay with that. And it may sound like that's counterintuitive, but it may get the message across to them that they can't fucking be business as usual for profit like the Leafs have done in the past and not give a shit about not winning. You fans, if you really want to be fair weather at this point, I will command you to not come to the building and not spend money on the Raptors and not support the team, even though I love that team so much and I want them to be successful and profitable. If it gets to that point, I start saying stuff like that, y'all don't go to the games. Don't go to the games. They're putting this shit out like they want us to just come and buy tickets because they know we will. Fuck them. We will show them that we're not cheap and we can be just like coming to get the games anyway, and we don't give a shit about this. So, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. We take it day by day. In some ways, we're portending bad things for the future, and I don't like that. I want good things to happen, but it does seem like this situation is very bad in some ways. Country Kong is saying this. I find it hard to cheer for the Cavs. Never mind LeBronto. I feel like that team and arena kept the same front runner energy even after LeBron left. Like, what have you done? We're tied in championships. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot. Like, they're annoying. They're just annoying. In some ways, people in Ohio bug me. They just bug me. There's a lot of racists in Ohio for it being a northern United States state. But like seriously, there's a higher racist quotient in Ohio than some of the northern states, and I don't understand that. You can be driving in the middle of Ohio and there's a Confederate flag on a barn there. I'm like, how far north of the Mason-Dixon line are we right now? Seriously. And LeBron James and Charles Oakley and Halle Berry could probably tell you that Ohio has a lot of racist people in it. Yeah, they probably could tell you, being all Cleveland natives. That's right. Let's see. Wayne saying basketball, but Drake's estimation is out by our estimation, underestimated by 250 million. Yeah, well, I went and looked it up just now. His net worth is 250 million. Carlo JS is saying Rogers pays Shapiro at Atkins shit ton of money, so don't buy Rogers penny pinching. It's more of who advises him. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever's going on there, I don't trust the guy. I know he's full of shit. He doesn't like Masai. I know Masai's good for our team. Then, like, no, there's not anything good about him. Quick Take saying every single basketball team has a focal point player. I mean, I get it. That was the model of David Stern's NBA, that you have to have a franchise player, like Rolando Blackman was for the Mavericks in like 1989. I mean, I get it. We could say Siakam's still our franchise player, but in some ways, this isn't what we're doing this year. You've got to really understand and listen to what Darko's saying. Quick Takes. It's a all for one for all, and there's no one guy is getting keyed on. This is part of why Siakam has to adjust, because he's not going to be the focal point like he was last year. That's just how it is, man. They're going to share it. Seriously. And it's going to mean it this time. Nick's saying they were sharing it last year. He's full of shit. It was really Fred and Siakam mostly. Well, this year, let's see if Darko's legit when he's saying that, no, there's not going to be any focal point. This is not us saying this. This is the coach. The new coach is saying this, Rajaković. There's no focal point. And you may not understand it at first, but I'm telling you, once we see it in theory on the court with what's happening, you'll understand it a little bit more then. You will. Country Kong saying, we're all supporters of the current ownership group, while Raptors games have been darn near unaffordable for average people for over a decade. I guess the devil I know is better than the one I don't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Things could be worse for Raptors Nation. Y'all be careful. Y'all can be toxic and can hurt things, especially when you go after publicly people like Masai Ujiri. You seriously got to protect him. Do you want to go with Ujiri, who's a humanitarian, who's doing great things around the globe? Or do you want to go with a fucking Montgomery Burns kind of person from The Simpsons? Seriously. You don't want to do the bidding of Montgomery Burns by deriding and going after Masai. And any Raptor fans that are doing that right now, just stop. Seriously, just stop. Let's see. Nameless is saying Drake has blown even Eminem away. That's right. He's number one. He's top dog. He has sold so much more than most everybody else in the recent years. He really, really has. I think there's a few that are up there with him. Maybe Beyonce, maybe Bieber himself. But yeah, it's Drake. Drake is number one in music. He has been for a while. Fiercely saying Lex called it. With Yak signing, a championship is coming. This season may be an adjustment, but I'm rooting for us to clinch a good playoff spot. Next season, we'll be more comfortable. I love you, Fiercey. And I love that you're being positive and you're keeping us on track. So I'm going to give you a dunk for that, because in some ways we need that. In some ways, I'm not going to bring this topic up again for a while. In some ways, I want to avoid the ownership worries, and we'll just take it day by day. And I'll react to if there's anything that's new that comes out. I don't want to harp on this and worry about it too much, because in some ways, when you worry about something, you're talking about it too much, you give it power. And I don't want to give it power. I want to hope that we can just sail this ship through all this bullshit safely and in a good, positive way for our team to be competitive and winning in the long-term future is what I want to worry about and get. Carlos saying, I doubt they tank the Raptors. It's worth more than the Leafs. Conglomerate value money, and there's more to be made with the basketball team. There you go. Carlo, I like that positive attitude. That's really good. Fiercey saying, watch out. She's got the boxing gloves. Nameless is saying, I know who the key to Drake's success. You take away young Tony, and there's no Drake. He paid young Tony to keep him off the streets like an investment. All those witty lines you hear from Drake, that's young Tony talking. All right, young Tony, thank you for doing that. Carlos saying the key here is who's going to be the next chairman after LT. Yeah, there you go. That may be part of it. You know, Larry Tanenbaum is very powerful. He's the head of the NBA Board of Regents, of the governors, of all the owners. He's like the king of all the owners. He's been that guy for a few years now. And that's that kind of speaks to his character and how respected and looked up to him in the ownership world he is. That all the owners have him as the chair of their ownership. Like he's the chair of all the NBA for the owners, Larry Tanenbaum. I don't know if enough people know that about our owner, that he is the board of governor, the leader of the board of governors. So this will be interesting. Like if it's a figurehead person that sits in the chairperson spot, it could be Ed Rogers. And that is a problem, is what I'm saying here. Quick Take saying, we'll see. That's right. We're just going to have to find out. and see. We don't know yet. We haven't seen the team on the court, and we don't know what the future brings for our franchise. Carlos saying, fuck Rogers and Bell. Canada pays so much for internet and phone service. I know, it's a travesty. It's an absolute travesty. I don't even know why I pay my Bell phone bill. It's way over $100, and I don't hardly use it for anything. I don't use it as a smartphone. All I do is text, and I barely talk to anybody on the phone on it. It's such a ripoff. The phone, they're actually investigating these companies for jacked up prices relative in the marketplace of the world for this kind of stuff. And yeah, we are getting the shaft here in Canada, particularly from these companies, Bell and Rogers. It's disgusting. It really is. Yeah, fiercely saying day by day. We just got to take it day by day. The good news right now is we're in training camp, we're excelling, we're gelling, and we got a good season to come look forward to watch and enjoy. In some ways, we need to just stay fans and enjoy our team and realize we don't have control over this once again. If this kind of shit happens and turns out, we got to make the best of it. But we can't hope. We got to hope for the best, and hopefully everything works out. That's what I'm saying. Day by day. I love it, Fiercey. You're being such a good positive force here. Kareem saying, I'm tired of negative talk and energy around this team. I've been a fan since 95. We lived through the ice age and dark times with the Raptors. We are literally living in the golden age. Be happy. I know. And this is the crazy, messed up, ironic thing about these younger fans that have just been around since the championship. They don't realize how good we've had it in this time. And the golden age is definitely a way to describe the Raptors since Masai Ujiri took the job to lead us. And they have no idea how bad it can be. And they might get it. They might really get it. And you know what? These fans will go away. And they won't be like Kareem and I that have been here since 95. They will go away because they won't be able to stand being around what's happening. And we will, because we're real ones. And that's what I'm saying. They don't understand it. Trevor's saying, I'm heading to Columbus, Ohio to visit my cousins. And we're all going to Drake concert on Monday. Trevor J just has a charmed life. Man, Commissioner J, I'm so proud of you and happy. He's going to WNBA games, playoff games. And now he's going to see Drake in concert in Columbus, Ohio, the home of the Trent family, Gary Trent Sr. and Jr., a lot of a house in Columbus, and that is very much a home base for our guy GTJ. Yeah, that's awesome. So you go tell us about the Drake concert on Tuesday after you go see it. David saying Darko is going to run this team like a FIBA team. The focal point is the team, and the off-ball movement is the synergy. I love this. Let's buck the trends. Let's fuck the system. Let's go against it. Let's be a FIBA-like team. I love it. Fun guy saying, yeah, Drake is an absolute superstar, but man, Sunday can't come sooner. I'm itching like an addict for Sunday. Fun guy's ready for some basketball. I'm totally with you there. Quick Take saying a lot to look for on Sunday, Lex? Yeah, it's going to be really fun to see the unveiling of Darko, kind of the first unveiling of Darko. You can't really go by the summer league stuff. In some ways you could get a little kind of twinge taste, but not really. And this will really show us. Hopefully on Sunday, we'll see some success and we'll see some really cool new things is what I'm saying. Yeah. Let's see. David saying cell phone plans are cheaper in Nigeria. I bet they are. Because in some ways they're not trying to in some ways we're like big, huge, fat cattle. So those little parasite mosquitoes can really suck the blood out of us. In some ways, they don't have as much to spend there, so they got to think about it. Some of that's what it is. Cost of living goes up because they figure, oh, these people have more money. Bleed them more dry. Grocery prices, gas prices, cable prices, fucking phone prices. It's disgusting. And homesteader mentality, doing more for yourself and not depending on these big corporations and feeding them money and their profits is going to be more the way to go as an individual in society. Grow your own food. Don't buy groceries. Do as much as you can to get off of being dependent on corporations in any kind of way and do not support them. Shop locally, go to small businesses, do those kind of things. I don't advocate stealing, but some of y'all talked about going to the stores and doing things a certain way because you just have to. There's all kinds of different ways to get around things and not support corporatism and corporate welfare and the bloodsuckers at the top sucking it from us and every cable bill and phone bill every single month. Yeah, there's ways to do this. I have my internet with, I forget what they're called, Tech Savvy. They use the Rogers network, but I'm paying a smaller business Tech Savvy has a better rate, and I feel better sleeping at night knowing I'm not giving money directly to Ted Rogers for my cable. That's right. Tech Savvy does all my stuff online, my internet and my cable stuff. So there you go. No fucking Rogers bullshit. That's right. That's right. Let's see what else y'all are saying here. You hear Kareem. I like that. Wayne saying the Raptors will be the first team in the NBA to win a championship with a second first season coach. It's all lined up. Only health issues can stop us. The players are all locked in. I love this prediction. This is a badass prediction, and I'd love to see this. That would be really cool calling card. The Raptors win championships with rookie coaches. That'd be badass. I love this prediction. I want to see it. Toronto Raptors, NBA champions 2024. Toronto Raptors, NBA champions 2024. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, yes. David's saying, I used to have a U.S. cell phone. Even when I was in Canada with the long distance charges, it was still cheaper than a monthly bill with one of these dumb fucks in Canada. Yeah. Yeah, they should investigate them, just like they're investigating Galen Weston in the grocery stores. Y'all need to investigate these telecom companies with their rates on cell phone prices, and even the cable companies need to be investigated too. They totally do. Oh my gosh, they do. Wow, thanks for the super chat, David. I really appreciate that. Very, very kind of you. Let's see. Mo's saying W's all around. W mindset always. Go Raptors. Go Darko. Keep at it, Lex. Thank you, Mo. And thank you for being a positive light too in our Raptors fan nation. We need positive stuff because there is a lot of scary stuff. And you know what? Let's just go for it and be smart and take it day by day, like Fiercey's saying. And let's take our victories and our losses as they come. Hopefully, way more victories. That's right. Fun guy saying Ted Rogers is dead. His dad is dead, which is sad. So is Ed Rogers the third. And man, what a piece of work he is. His own family hates him because he's cruel and a cold-hearted motherfucker. That his own mother and his sister turn their backs on him and don't agree with him and how he runs his company. Yeah, that tells you enough right there. That his own mother is disappointed in how fucking evil he is. Yeah, there you go. David's using tech savvy like me. It's not bad at all. They don't have very many outages. In fact, the outage only happens when Rogers has an outage. David's saying, thanks for waking up and doing this morning, Lex. I appreciate you. I appreciate you too, David. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Let's go to that Carnes Taipans preseason game all together. We'll go down to the building and see our guys in our first preseason game at Scotiabank Arena. I hope you'll be there, David. I'm pretty sure you could probably get down there and we'll all go to the game together. That's right. Quick takes. Thank you for that. You're not being a pain in the butt. Listen, I like all the voices of anything. You want to know who the focal point of the offense is. A lot of people kind of want to know that. In some ways, I can't answer that. It could be very much a natural thing that it is still Siakam, but who knows? Maybe it is Scott overtaking him. Maybe it's even OG as a long shot. Or maybe it's even Gary that's stepping up and he's even more of a focal point somehow, some way, because he's just really super consistent this year. So, I mean, there's all kinds of ways we could go. In some ways, I don't know how to answer that. Yeah, it's the open man is the focal point, just like what David said here. Quick take saying Bogey was the focal point for Serbia, Schroeder for Germany, just saying. All right, I get what you're saying. Like, and Luka, obviously. But and even SGA for Canada. I don't know. It's tough to say. I can't say for sure. There's some clues that maybe even Jakob is the focal point this year, just because of him being the hub, and the rest of those guys are all the same, and he's the one who's different. I don't know. It's some ways it's like an upside down, inverted kind of thing that Darko may be doing with this whole concept of focal point. I don't know. I don't know how to. We really got to see it. We really got to see it. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Once again, you know, it's really disappointing. The decision by MLSE yesterday, it is basically a business decision. They realize that in some ways the money is to be made in concerts during the summer. And they don't want to give the Scotiabank Arena to the WNBA in the summer. And that is really disappointing. I'll be upset about it for today, but I won't bring it up anymore unless it pertains to something we got to talk about later and it is a factor to think about. But yeah, thanks for letting me vent. And yeah, I'm upset. And I'm upset partly because I'm worried about the future for our Raptors. That is a big part of why I'm upset too. So yeah, I appreciate y'all being, counterbalances to me. If we didn't totally agree on certain stuff today, like MSJ or anybody else on here, I appreciate y'all. It isn't a thing where like I want to just be the end all be all what we say. Everybody's opinion matters, and we need to flesh it out with different perspectives. And that is important. And I appreciate y'all for grounding me in two different ways, whether it's grounding me on the WNBA issue or just grounding me on staying positive today. Sometimes I'm the one who's grounding y'all and staying positive, but sometimes I get a little negative in my head and worried for the future, and y'all save me. That has very much been something that's happened over the last 2 years. And I appreciate that. Seriously. It's kind of like if I'm down in the dumps, y'all are there for me. And if y'all are down in the dumps, I'm there for you. And I appreciate that. Yeah. Fun guy saying, I don't think it's a bad idea that Masai waits till deadline and perhaps sells low or waits till off season and resigns everyone if we're good. Yeah. We'll let the man do his job and know that he's going to do the best to his ability in any situation, what he's got to work with. It's not he's trying to not do things. He's doing things. He's limited by different things, whether it's the ownership, whether it's the teams, players not wanting to come to Canada, whether it's, whatever it is. He's dealing with stuff that other people don't necessarily deal with. Yeah. Let's see. Quick take saying true. We'll see. Looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. In some ways, I want to see just to so we can talk about it because it's fun talking about it with you guys. And I look forward to on Monday, reacting to the first preseason game and really the discovery of what we find from seeing Darko's stuff. It's really exciting. It is. David saying, hey, I only cursed once today. That's positive and shit. Oh, you did it again. Damn it. Damn it. No curse Friday, David. Come on now. You're going to get in trouble with comma crazy. Yeah. Let's see. Fun guy's laughing and fiercely saying, just don't do like Jimmy Butler, Lex. No weird hairdos. I don't think I could if I tried at this point. Seriously. It really does. I keep it really close, and I don't pay for barber haircuts. I do it myself. So yeah, I don't know. If I grew my hair back out, it'd look really weird. Let's just say I have very light hair, light colored and very thin hair. And with it, like balding, not really balding, but just thinning up here, it'd be looking really weird. It'd be like thick around the side and be like one of these kind of weird, like patchy on top kind of things. So at this point, I just say, and stay perennially in my 30s. Yeah, that's right. There you go. Trevor's saying, first game on Sunday with the WNBA Finals. I'm glad you guys know who won. There you go. You have a good time, Trevor, at Drake concert next week, and keep updating us on stuff. Yeah, that's right. David wants an alley-oop. The alley-oop for who? For Fiercey? All right. Fiercey gets an alley-oop for me not doing any Jimmy Butler stuff. All right. That's cool. And Mo's laughing about it too. Can't wait to see you again, Mo. Good times in this great season ahead. All right. On that note, y'all, thanks for watching me today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And be true to your team. We love the Raptors, and we're going to ride or die with them, even through crazy stuff. It's disappointing, no WNBA for us right now, but I do hope the WNBA does expand to Canada in another market, possibly. In some ways, Toronto may just not be the place for y'all. It could be that you could do really good in Vancouver. Trust me. So, yeah. Fun guy saying, Lex, you're a lucky man. My head shape is so weird. Baldness is my biggest fear in life. I do feel like I got a pretty conducive head for shaving it. It's all right. I do feel lucky in that respect. Some people, it may not look right with it. Yeah. But yeah, listen, when I was younger, I had hair down to my shoulders. I had long blonde hair. I was a headbanger. It was really interesting, my hair when I was younger. Yeah, I had very long, crazy, flowing golden locks in high school. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Y'all, please subscribe to NBA Quick Takes. Great channel, and I appreciate his support and his presence being in this chat. And all y'all have a great TJIF. Today I'm going to watch a new Drake video, and I'm hoping it's going to be badass with the new video album release. And, I'll be back tomorrow for a Saturday Share the Love Club. I think because of the decision with the WNBA, tomorrow I'd like to share love for Teresa Resch, the executive in the Raptors organization. She's very, very valuable and great executive for us. And I'm going to put more of a shine on her tomorrow. So we're going to celebrate and share the love for Teresa Resch, one of the great executives in the Raptors organization. All right, y'all, let's go Raptors. Yeah, let's go to Vancouver and win.